side over the Veterans Bridge, and my sister was visiting and she said, wow, I've forgotten how beautiful this city is, and it truly is. I mean, and the stadium has been a big part of that landscape, as we said earlier.
They are getting ready for the implosion. They shut off the lights. The stadium is actually right behind us. You can't see it, but believe us, it's right behind us.
Speaking, what else is behind us is the new Steelers Stadium, which is quite different, and a lot of people are seeing it take shape. Andrew and I have seen stadiums somewhat similar to it in Jacksonville and in Kansas City that are open-ended. And there's Andrew right there, and they're in for quite a treat.
Yes, they are. If you've never been to Jacksonville's Alltel Stadium or Carolina's Erickson Stadium, you're going to see a stadium where it's great sight lines, you're very close to the field, and also you're going to have that dramatic view of downtown, which I think is really going to separate this stadium from many others. The Steelers will play there, the Panthers will play there, and I think it's really going to be part of the entire football experience. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And the new stadium, we're seeing some the boxes that are up there that have the windows, and we can see the lights from them. Hopefully we'll get a shot of that later when it's lighter outside. But I think Doug Loiseau said that he wouldn't be surprised if, despite the Kevlar covering, that a window or two did break. Yeah,
I mean, look, it's about less than 50 yards between the old stadium and the new stadium, so I'll be very interested to see if they're able to do this and not blow out a few windows. You know, you were kind of surprised the windows went in at the time they did, but they really needed to get the stadium ready in time for the exhibition opener, which is coming up in very early August.
Yeah. Well, if you're sitting home right now and you want to be a part of this and you're thinking about coming down, we're going to let you know on the traffic conditions right now. Ellen Gamble is back in the studio with more on traffic. Ellen.
And more traffic as the morning goes along, too. Boy, if you are thinking of heading out, we're going to talk to you in just a minute about just how packed it is heading up to Mount Washington. We do have a traffic shot for you right now to show you a little bit of what we mean. Lots of headlights there, folks. And you're not supposed to be parking on bridges, but kind of you are inadvertently because you're stuck in traffic. That's the line of folks trying to head to West Carson Street across the outbound Fort Pitt Bridge, and then head over to the Duquesne Incline parking lot. We're going to talk to you about how packed it is up on Mount Washington and why you might want to maybe rethink that idea of heading out and instead just stay put on the couch and let us show you what's going to happen on the north side. What is happening just in the next couple of minutes are road closures right around the blast site. We are told by City of Pittsburgh police that very soon, if not already, Federal Street, Reedsdale Street, Ridge Avenue, and North Shore Drive on the north side in the immediate blast area will close down. So those are local streets, if you will. You'll still be able to travel on the interstates around the stadium, but only for about another 45 minutes. And then at that point, we will have some of the other closures happening, and we'll talk to you about that as the morning continues. Now, let's talk to you about getting up onto Mount Washington. We don't have any roads closed up there, but they might as well be because they are packed with cars. East Carson Street, West Carson Street, getting up McCardle Roadway, McCardle and Grandview, all packed with vehicles. Might just want to stay home or try and find another spot for viewing because it is packed up there, and the bridges heading to Mount Washington are clogged as well. One more map to talk to you about bridge closures. The only closures that will really happen: Fort Pitt Bridge over to Fort Duquesne Bridge, 279 to Reedsdale Street, and 65 coming down toward the stadium in the north side. The Clementi, 7th and 9th Street bridges will remain open, as will the West End Bridge. But we're being told by City Police you are not allowed to park on those spans, and police will ask you to move. So keep those things in mind if you still want to come out and about. Mike and Sally, back to you.
Boy, I tell you, the police are going to have their hands full in the next hour.
Yeah, real team approach, though.
Because, and safety is a concern right now. I think that's what Doug Loiseau just said to Scott, is that at this point they're not worried about everything working. What they're worried about is some person trying to get that last little piece, that last little souvenir, or do something daring before, and it really isn't a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Police, fire, PennDOT, everyone kind of coming together as a team approach to make sure people are out of harm's way. At 6:57 right now, we're going to come back after the break with Stephen Cropper's DiNardo Weather Watch forecast, so keep it right there.
Good kick from the end zone, and Poteet on the return, looking from the University of Pittsburgh, has one man to beat.
We bought our hot tub at a discount store.
We got a great deal on the floor mop.
Sure, it's got a few dings, but who notices, right?
Show 'em the steps, honey.
I built it myself, not bad, eh?
Why settle for a hot tub when you could have a thermo spa with a solid granite storage cabinet and elegant wraparound steps for safety? There's even a patented towel warmer compartment, ideal for those cool, damp nights. Call for our free information package. It includes a 25-minute video, a 48-page color catalog, and information on how you can buy direct from thermo spas for as little as $49 a month. ThermoSpa offers the best in water therapy with over 160 jets to massage your body, provide relaxation, and just plain fun. If you already bought that discounted hot tub, don't worry. ThermoSpas accepts trade-ins on every make and model. Call now and we'll include a $400 gift coupon. Call 1-800-851-6677. That's 800-851-6677.
How long has it been since you've been to the dentist? About a year. At least.
At least.
3 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Okay. I confess, I used to be afraid of the dentist too. Not the drill, the bill. See, I don't have dental coverage. Talk about scary. So I joined the People's Dental Plan, a discount program that saves me money every time I come. Look, I just saved $80. Fear no more. Join the People's Dental Plan.
One low membership fee is all it takes to get the People's Dental Plan guaranteed. Show this card at a participating dentist near you and save 20 to 50% or more on virtually all dental treatments. Checkups, root canals, crowns, braces, even cosmetic treatments. There are no claim forms, just on-the-spot savings, and your whole household's covered.
Come back to the dentist and save.
Call 1-800-982-3100 for free information on the People's Dental Plan. Call now.
This is WTAE TV Pittsburgh. Right now, Channel 4 Action News is taking action for you.
31 years, so many memories. Franco, Roberto, the Buccos, the Steel Curtain, and you, the fans. Get ready for one last blast. The Implosion countdown begins right now.
Good morning, and we are all this morning getting our final look at the historic Three River Stadium. It is 7 o'clock, and this is a special edition of Action News this morning. We want to welcome you to Point State Park.
And you can see there the Gateway Clipper fleet. 1,000 people approximately are on those boats, as well as our Windy Belle, and a wonderful live shot, but they can only get the live shots when the boat stops.
And they're stopping it just for Wendy. She's going to raise her hand and things are going to stop.
Everybody stops for Wendy. Everyone knows it's Wendy.
Oh, I was waiting on that
You
one.
knew I was going to do
We're
that,
sticking
guys.
that one in.
All right. And
Well,
sunrise.
Yeah, sunrise is just coming up. We're starting to get a brightening of the skies just off to the east, and sunrise officially at 7:23, so not far away. And the other thing we're keeping an eye on, too, this morning, the winds. They are coming basically down the Ohio at about 6 to 8 miles per hour. So that's a west-northwesterly wind that is expected to take the plume and disperse it across the Golden Triangle, essentially over towards the convention center. But we do have a couple of graphics to put together for you to give you an update on the things we've been keeping an eye on and what the folks from the demolition crews have been keeping an eye on. An inversion, basically a temperature difference in the upper atmosphere that would have served as a cap. That would have prevented this plume from rising as much as it was expected to, or is expected to, and hence the particles would have been dispersed over a wider area. It does not look as though the inversion will be a problem this morning. The cap has been broken, so not expected to be a problem there. Wind speed and direction, again, essentially coming in from the west-northwest down the Ohio towards the point. That should take the plume and push it to the south-southeast. As Sheldon Ingram was saying, he was watching a stack emitting some steam there, and that should push it towards the Golden Triangle. Electrical storm, as I understand it, was the only thing that would have prevented the demolition from taking place as far as a weather phenomenon, and obviously not a problem this morning with an electrical storm. Temperatures in the teens, not expecting an electrical storm. Current winds, we've got several locations for you. Pittsburgh International now, the wind from the northwest at 9, northwest at 8 at Allegheny County Airport. And the folks at Life Flight at Allegheny General Hospital just off to our northeast at northwest now with the winds at 3. So winds are basically anywhere from 5 to 10 coming in from the northwest. You notice there the flow coming across the lakes. We do have some cloud cover, but not expected to serve as a major problem to prevent the plume from dispersing. And also temperatures across the area hovering basically in the teens for now. Numbers today, chilly. If you think back to Friday, keep that in your mind. We were 67 degrees. And today we're at 20, so there we go. Across the area for the rest of the day, here's the implosion forecast. Around 8 o'clock, expecting the numbers to flirt with 20. Winds should be from the west-northwest at about 5 to 10. And that, again, should be very good for implosion conditions, as I understand it. Not expecting any major problems as a result of the weather. Interesting, too, because there's not a cover or a roof on this particular facility, Mike and Sally. The dust particles are not expected to be, say, as great as they were in Seattle.
Where that roof just went.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how much dust is generated. 100,000 cubic yards will be left in the rubble, but not going to be a major problem as far as the weather. That's a good thing.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Steve.
Well, as hundreds of thousands of people come down to line the shore, the North Shore and Mount Washington, we have reporters everywhere. We have cameras everywhere. And let's go up on Mount Washington right now and check in with Michelle Wright.
Michelle, you said you were going to be inside with breakfast. Oh, look at her. Oh, you make me
We're
sick.
at the Grand View Saloon, and I'm in the middle of this crazy crowd. Say hi, everybody. You know, what's great about being up here, too, is not only can you watch the stadium in person, we've got the best view anywhere. All right, hush, hush. Look right here. The monitors are on Channel 4, so everybody here gets a double dose. Not only can you see it in person, but you can also watch it from our 17 different camera angles. We wondered why people wanted to pack in here bright and early. I've got some cool memories. This is Steven. Tell me about your Three Rivers memory.
Good morning. My first game was at Three Rivers, and we tried to sneak in, but we had to buy a ticket. But it was
what a game that was.
A great memory. And also, I think Mark Bruner dragging those couple guys from Oakland into the end zone at that last game I saw, I think that's going to set the tempo for the new stadium.
And you said you tried to sneak into your first game. It was the Immaculate Reception,
right,
but you had to buy a ticket. I guess it was worth it.
We had to buy a ticket, but honestly, I didn't see it because everyone stood up. I was down low and didn't
well, go out there and get a good shot of this so you're not down low this time. All right, Rob, what's your memory?
My memory, well, first of all, Section 225, row B, had really good memories, but one of the most memorable is probably when Brian Giles hit a home run in my section, and I'm eating nachos there, and all of a sudden I see the ball coming toward me, and I'm like, oh my God. So I put
Did you get it?
Down. Well, I put the nachos down, and here it hit somebody's hand in front of me. I was like, shit. Well, anyway, it went up in the air, popped in some guy's stomach, and I didn't get the ball.
All right, well, you got your camera, so you're ready. You got your memorabilia picture they're giving away here at the Grand View. They put a sticker over the new date. One more memory. Catherine and Craig, what's your special memory about Three Rivers?
Our first date was there.
Your very first date. So now you're still dating, and you're up here to watch the implosion. I guess it means a lot to you, huh?
It does. It's very special.
All right. Well, we got to go now. We're going to be up here. They're serving breakfast, but like I said, most people are just jockeying for a good position out there. We're going to go grab some hot breakfast, and we'll check back in with you later, Sally and Mike.
Michelle, you should be doing traffic control with the police officers.
She's doing those elbows.
She says, hush, hush, we got to go. You're just keeping them rocking and rolling up there, Michelle.
It was neat to hear people talk about their memory, because everyone has a different memory.
They do.
Of what Three Rivers is all about.
I remember the first time I saw it, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
That's right. And you know what? We've got somebody here who's going to be talking about some very special memories, because the memories are all circulating around sports. I mean, that's what it was, a sports stadium.
And it was a stadium, and it's so nice everybody has a sense of history today, remembering the great things and the great things that happened in this stadium. And it's tough to pick one memory or two. I mean, let's face it, there's so many great things that happened. And if you think about it, Pittsburgh's image nationwide has been shaped, and if you think about it, really transformed by what's happened at Three Rivers Stadium over the past 30 years. And we're talking about moments not just from the Steelers and from the Pittsburgh Pirates, but from many different sports teams in the area and many different events. And thanks to the WTAE archives, we're able to show you through the magic of videotape just some of those incredible moments. Our first memory, a late night and a dramatic sight.
Game 10th inning. 0-1 pitch drive, deep left field, no-hitter, home run. You got it all. Mark Smith gets it all. A 3-run homer, and the Pirates win 3-0. It's a no-hitter for Francisco Cordova and Ricardo Rincon.
The stadium was home away from home for Pitt, and the site of the crowning jewel of Pitt's 1976 national title, a win over Penn State, and the last Pittsburgh performance for a Heisman winner, Tony Dorsett. It also housed high school heroes and championship games. Few better than the WPIAL title tilt between Gateway and North Hills. The Indians closed to within 1 point with time ticking away. North Hills gambled, went for two and the win, and came up snake eyes as the Gators held on to win. The stadium welcomed the game's best.
First at-bat of the night for him. Swinging a drive into the gap in left center field. And up against the fence. This could do it. Being waved home is Gwynn. They got a play to Rodriguez. Safe.
It hosted another cliffhanger just 2 short years later.
Here we go. For the right to go to the Super Bowl. Harbaugh, 5 seconds left is back. He has time and he up down to the end zone, and down there it is juggled, and in the end zone. Oh my God! The ball hit the turf. The Steelers are headed to Phoenix, and this is one of the most unbelievable football games we have ever witnessed.
This year's final farewells feature two magical moments.
And Coach Heath on the return, rookie from the University of Pittsburgh, has one man to beat. And he's going to make it for a touchdown. Or that was the longest punt return in Three Rivers Stadium history.
Wayner, deep left. Look at this. Steve. Oh my God. He's done it. Native Wayner. Unbelievable. It is unbelievable. I can't believe it. He's done it.
But long after Three Rivers is reduced to rumble, one date will live on.
Bradshaw running out of the pocket, looking for somebody to throw to, fires it downfield. And there's a collision. It's caught out of the air. The ball is pulled in by Franco Harris. Harris is going for a touchdown for Pittsburgh. Harris is going.
Put a stopwatch on that.
You know, you never get tired of looking at the Immaculate Reception. Now, without question, Three Rivers Stadium will be known for the glory days of the 70s, the 6 championships in 8 years. But Sally and Mike, some of the more dramatic moments have happened over the past 10 years. The All-Star game in baseball, the no-hitter, the championship games with the wins and losses, and even the high school games came down to some dramatic finishes. The final one we had here between the Woodland Hills game.
Some great individual achievements over the past 10 years.
Right. It really has been absolutely amazing, and it's hard to believe it's all going to end. Even though the stadium's coming down, our memories will always stay with us, but it's not going to be quite the same because you won't be able to look on that field and say, hey, I remember the Immaculate Reception happened right here.
All right. We are going right now to a break, but we'll be back with Scott Baker at Ground Zero. Approximately to bring that huge structure down. And how long did the Immaculate Reception take?
I was talking to Andrew Stockey, and he said from the time the ball was snapped and Bradshaw had the ball in his hands, 13 seconds. So, matter of seconds.
That's a good comparison.
We're going to check in with Scott Baker, who will be counting down the seconds over on the north side. He is at Ground Zero right now. Scott.
What do you mean? That's my job? I'm the one that I got to count down the seconds? Oh, okay. No, we'll be fine. In fact, right now, I'd like you to get to the people who really have the power here, Liz and Joe King. And if you remember, I'm giving you a second to see if you recognize them. They're the ones that were in Shannon's Pizza we showed you about a half an hour ago. You guys are the ones that are going to get to bring the place down. Exactly. Now, Liz, you bought the raffle ticket.
Yes, I did.
Joe, you're going to get to actually push it down. Have you been practicing the technique?
Yes, I have.
Any chance that any fears, apprehensions that something will go wrong?
No, I haven't really thought about that. You know, I mean, everybody's talked about like the dust and all that and debris. So you know, I mean, I don't have a worry.
You're ready. Now, Liz, you actually worked at Three Rivers Stadium. What do you remember? What's your favorite memory of your time there?
You know what? It was a great time for my youth because my childhood friend and I, we actually walked across Mount Washington to one incline, down the incline, across 2 bridges, and into Three Rivers to work for the '71 World Series, and we had a blast. Just like we're going to have today.
Had a blast. They're going to have another one today.
Exactly.
So and you can tell me because it's like 20 degrees out here.
Yeah.
You're also getting a trip to the Bahamas out of this. Are you already thinking about that?
Yes, and we're going to try to plan to go real soon, like possibly April, May time frame. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask Joe, what's your favorite memory of Three Rivers? A favorite game, concert?
Probably the AFC Championship game when we won, go to the Super Bowl that year. I think that was a great memory.
And you also won a year's supply of beer, right, from Iron City. I think it's nice that you volunteered to treat the entire crew.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to let you get back to you got the big stretch limousine. I think that's bigger than the Gateway Clippers. So thanks for
taking care of us, just like royalty.
All right, and we'll be watching. You got 45 minutes. You're going to be over at the plunger, and we'll be ready. All right, Liz and Joe King, thanks for that. So you know, we've heard from the official end of the detonation team, you know, as they're getting the implosion set in there, and we've heard from the ceremonial part of it, the people ready for the plunger. So next time you hear from us, we'll be about 15 minutes till, and we'll be looking for those the final countdown as they're just getting everything in place. And as you heard, you know, they're ready as far as the actual detonation. Now it's just a matter of making sure security's in place, and it looks like at this point the sun is coming up, and we are getting close.
44 minutes away.
You know, it's interesting, Scott, that I understand that they will not only look for people who may wander into that safety zone, but they're going to be looking for wandering animals.
Yeah, you know, you don't know what anything could cause a problem. And by the way, I have noticed a lot of people now wandering. They've been coming up, walking up as close as they can get. And I got the Goodyear blimp over me right over here, so we're getting people wandering in from all angles. I'll keep an eye out for any animals. Your dogs are locked up, right,
Yes.
Sally?
I think so. Thanks, Scott.
Still to come on Action News this morning, we're going to talk about all the road closings if you're still planning on coming down here, so stay with us.
Disappearing in 19 seconds. Right now, a lot of people are just getting in their cars to come down here. They think they have plenty of time, but probably they should think again, right, Ellen? We're going to go to Ellen Gamble right now for the road closings.
Yes, Sally, that's a great point. Actually, people should think again about trying to go to Mount Washington, one of the great viewing sites for the implosion today. You can see live action cam shot. Folks, that is the way that roadway and the Fort Pitt Bridge have looked all morning long. And actually, since 5:30 this morning, we've been told by police that Mount Washington has been jammed. Grandview Avenue, McCardle Roadway, Carson Street. Your best bet is to just stay put. We're going to show you everything that's going to happen, and you'll be warm too, so keep that in mind. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in some traffic, and you might actually miss everything that's going to happen. Goodness knows those folks on the Fort Pitt Bridge might not even make it up to Mount Washington by the time things happen here. Let's talk about what's happened now. We do have road closures on the north side. City police tell us that the blast area around Three Rivers Stadium has been secured. Some of the local roadways closed there. Ridge, Reedsdale, Federal, and North Shore Drive all shut down at this point, and that will affect some Port Authority buses. That'll affect your PAT service. What do? Give them a call. There's a number to call, 412-442-2000. That's the number for the Port Authority. Again, 412-442-2000. If you have any questions, 16A and D are the routes that are being affected there. Again, the number at the bottom of the screen, 412-442-2000, the Port Authority. If you have questions about how you're going to get into the north side this morning, because it's going to be tough. Let's talk about some of the other bridges very quickly. If we could have the other map. What's going to be happening now in about 25 minutes is your access across the Fort Duquesne Bridge is going to be prohibited, 279 to Reedsdale Street and 65 past the stadium. That's interstate travel. It will be shut off in about 25 minutes by state police. Bridge traffic on the Clemente 7th, 9th, and West End Bridge will remain open, but you're not going to be allowed to stop and stare. Police will keep moving you along, so keep those things in mind if you are headed out in that area this morning. It's getting busy on the north side. Sally and Mike, back to you.
Ellen. One person who has a great view of traffic is our Sheldon Ingram, and he is on the top of the Allegheny Center right now.
Is it pretty crowded up there, Sheldon?
Yeah, it is a nice view up here, and the traffic, basically what we're looking at are police personnel blocking off some of the streets that Ellen just talked about. But earlier in the preparation for the implosion of Three Rivers Stadium, we got a chance to sit in on the CDI as they loaded the explosives. Now, everyone is talking about 19 seconds for the stadium to come down. Basically, what's happening is that it takes 19 seconds from the time the switch is pressed to the time the implosion occurs. There's delay that happens there, so that's where the 19 seconds comes in. Now, as for the explosives themselves, about 2,000 pounds of explosives, dynamite, is packed inside of Three Rivers Stadium right now. And they loaded in about there. As you look at the stadium, there are about 37 columns that are supporting the structure. And in each of the 37 columns, each is reinforced with different degrees of strength. So they inserted dynamite into the 37 columns inside of holes that are about 4 inches in diameter. So that's what you have there in terms of the explosives loaded inside of Three Rivers Stadium. As for feeling the effect of the explosion, CDI says that no one will really be able to feel it. And as for debris flying, cement flying around the place, they say that will likely not happen. That could happen if they overloaded the columns with a lot of explosives, or if they allowed a lot of excess air inside of the columns where the dynamite is inserted. But they did not do that, so they don't expect any of the debris to fly. They don't expect anyone to feel it, especially you guys down at the point. Back to you.
You know what, Sheldon, it's just amazing, the physics of all of this, the infinitesimal detail that has to be gone through. It's just remarkable.
It is, Sally, and as they were going over some of the plans in terms of loading the explosives, what really caught my attention was the different degrees of strength that each column has, and it really takes a lot of math work to determine how to load those explosives and to determine how much you want to put into each column.
Wow, 4,800 pounds of explosives.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much, Sheldon Ingram on the north side there. It is 7:23 right now. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at Stephen Cropper's DiNardo Weather Watch forecast, so keep it right here.
Have a shot of the Majestic. There are flags on top of the Majestic there. If you look in the center, just to the top left of your screen there, those flags are blowing towards the Golden Triangle. Just to give you a little bit of perspective, those flags are blowing towards the Golden Triangle, hence the winds coming from the west-northwest, basically down the Ohio and into the Majestic, taking the plume, expected to take the plume down and into the Golden Triangle, just for a little bit of perspective there. Winds obviously a key factor of the forecast today. They were also keeping an eye on what is called an inversion, or a cap in the upper layers of the atmosphere. That, in combination with some low clouds, could have worked to prevent the plume from rising enough to disperse and be picked up by the west-northwesterly winds. But obviously there's not any clouds this morning, or a major factor with the clouds. The inversion also not a factor either. Let's take a look at some other winds around the area. Winds are from the west-northwest or from the northwest. Normally they blow from the west-southwest, prevailing wind at Pittsburgh. Today they're coming in from basically the west-northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Current wind check from around the region. Pittsburgh International in now from the north-northwest at 7. Winds have come around from the north-northwest at 8 at Allegheny County, and the folks at Life Flight at Allegheny General Hospital kind enough to give us a wind direction there too, north-northwesterly at 1. So about anywhere from a 1 to 10 mile per hour wind coming in from the north-northwest. This is a look at what is expected to happen with the plume. It is expected to stay basically to the north of the Fort Duquesne Bridge into the Golden Triangle. If it continues on its trek long enough, it would take it to around the convention center, but the plume is not expected to be as great as it was out in Seattle as a result of the fact that there's not a roof on the stadium, obviously, so not as much to implode. This morning's forecast coming in around 20. Mostly cloudy, winds from the west-northwest at about 5 to 10. We do anticipate winds to stay in that general direction for the implosion, which is coming up in, what are we, about 18 minutes away, or actually 32 minutes away. So
Quick bit of trivia. What was the coldest game played at Three River Stadium?
I could tell you the coldest inauguration for the presidential election, but I can't tell you the coldest game.
It was 5 degrees. That's actually hot, not lower than 5. 5 degrees. December 17th, 1989, the Steelers beat the Pats 28 to 10.
You must have been a part of that.
And I was there.
That's why you know how cold it is. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen.
Sure.
We got a great look at the Majestic with the flags being whipped by the winds. Our Wendy Bell is aboard the Majestic, and she's going to join us now with a report. Wendy, is the party going pretty strong right now?
Unbelievable. In fact, I'm wearing my fashionable one orange earplug, which I think I'm going to wear forever now. But you can hear the band cranking things up. We got 2 levels here, about 704 passengers to be exact on board. They just had a nice continental breakfast. And to give you an idea of how cool our view is, Ralph, if you can, take a shot outside through the window here. We're shooting right across, I think 500 feet or so moored off of the point. And it's an absolutely perfect shot for you. We've rounded up some ladies here. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Hi, Mom. That's all they want to say. Thank you so much. I've got Heather here and Robin and Kelly. Now tell me, you got up very early. Did this disappoint you, or is this all right?
No, it's a blast.
And you guys were upstairs. It's getting crowded up there.
Oh, yeah. Very crowded, and it's very cold out.
It is, but you guys are dedicated. How about upstairs? What does it look like to you up there? People being nice?
Everyone's nice so far. Not pushing you to get up front.
Are you a big sports fan? Is this something you've been planning for a while?
Yes, about a year. We found out a year ago.
Oh, ladies. And what time did you have to get up?
About 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, it's amazing to me that all three of you look lovely, which is just sickening to me. I don't think I've ever put lipstick on before 6 in the morning. But they're going to have fun. Why don't you guys go upstairs, take up your spots again, because I know people are going to be muscling in for you. We're going to actually come back to you folks a little after the implosion. So I think Ralph, my photographer, we got to get outside and get set up for that shot. It's going to be so cool. Wait till you see this. So Sally, Mike, we're going to send it back to you, but don't forget about us, because we'll have more to report later on.
We could never forget about Wendy. Thanks, Wendy.
Sure.
It is D-30 right now, and we're going to come back with more on this special edition of Action News this morning, so keep it right here.
Swinging a drive into the gap in left center field, and up against the fence. This could do it. Being waved towards Twin. They're going to play Rodriguez.
Dream of the endless possibilities each new day brings. Discover Miracle and a gift with any $21.50 Lancome purchase, now at Kaufman's.
Go to Wix. Wix is having one of their famous
36-hour sales.
They're almost as famous as I am.
big savings.
You cannot beat the prices. Brand name home furnishings.
It's beautiful.
It's Wix Furniture's big 36-hour store-wide sale. Wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling savings. Plus, put no money down with no monthly payments and no finance charges due for 1 year with a Wix charge.
Go to Wix. That's what I said. Wix. What? Wix says.
Bookmark thepittsburghchannel.com. An easy way to get constantly updated information. New facts, new headlines, tornado weather, sports scores, and more. Get breaking news live, free email weather, and even live web video. Plus, you can find helpful, important information for your family, your business, and yourself. Action News, taking action for you on the PittsburghChannel.com. Your home for everything local.
Nothing says you're my sweetheart like the irresistible temptations from Sarah's Candies. Visit our Cannonsburg showroom or call 1-888-SARRIS-1 for a retailer near you. Or shop online at www.sarahscandies.com.
The area's most experienced surgeon in ophthalmology, cataract and refractive specialist Dr. E. Ronald Salvetti, now performing LASIK surgery using the Vizix laser. Call now for your free personal consultation.
Welcome back to Point State Park. Our 5 hours of continuous coverage continues right now. We are less than 30 minutes away. We're going to take a little shot of Three River Stadium.
I'm sorry, I'm leaning over so we can get that shot, and I have a bagel in my mouth.
That's okay. It's breakfast time, Sally. But you really get it's a beautiful view. You can see the Steelers Stadium right next door. And in a matter of 25 minutes, 27 minutes from now, the wonderful concrete bowl will be no more.
You know, the architect said this, and it's so true. In Europe, buildings last longer. Maybe it's because, relatively speaking, we're a new country. You know, there was nothing here 400 years ago of this ilk, obviously. And he says it's kind of unusual to just eliminate a building that's been here for 31 years.
Well, people in Pittsburgh certainly love this. It's a party atmosphere downtown. And we're going to go over to Shannon Perrine, who is live at Station Square. She's going to let us know what's going on over there. Shannon.
Hey there, Mike. We're over here, and look at this crowd. They are having so much fun. It's just such a good vibe here this morning. We're talking to people. There were trains coming through earlier. Those trains have obviously been replaced by fans, Three Rivers fans, just dying to get in the right place, prime real estate, get the best view for when the stadium comes down. We're going to talk to some fans now. John, come over and chat with us. John, best memory of Three Rivers?
Best memories, all the Steeler games here, and just all the drinking and having fun and bringing it, and actually the family atmosphere. You know, I mean, when I started, I was a kid coming here, and now I'm gonna bring my kids to the new stadium and stuff like that.
You got your kids here, and they're gonna experience, you know, the old and the new.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was just talking. I mean, if you stand and just look at it, the new and the old. It's, I mean, with 30 years of what a difference it makes. So hopefully in their lifetime, because this will probably be my last lifetime I've ever seen it, you know, but hopefully they'll get to see it, this experience again.
Any concerts there?
plenty of concerts. The Rolling Stones, that was one of my best concerts. The Monsters of Rock, you know, that was definitely a good concert. You know, tons of concerts. Pink Floyd, I remember that one. We went there. You know. It was just, I just had a good time, good memories there.
I remember I slept on the pavement to get tickets to U2. I don't think my parents know that yet, but, you know, just such a good time. Such a good time, yes. And so many memories.
Right.
Good. Okay. All right. You guys going to miss it when it's gone? Yeah. You're going to like the new one, though?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Both of them. Okay.
Can't wait for it to open, that's all.
There's a lot of food out here, too. I think this is a great excuse for people to come up with all kinds of ways to tailgate. We've got quiche, we've got cake, you name it, it's here. We're going to send it back to you guys for now.
Shannon, your parents want you to give them a call. Thank you very much.
You know, it's interesting. You'll talk to a lot of people, though. I was talking to a cabbie on the way here, and he said that he actually, for him, the loss was Forbes Field, even though he's about our age, because he heard his father talk about Forbes Field all the time.
Yeah.
So you have to remember that there are some people who regard Forbes Field as the great loss. So Kelly Fry's up there with a lot of people with memories on Mount Washington at the Overlook.
Here I am, you guys. How you doing? We're showing some of the folks that are up here as well. We've got a fantastic crowd already. You guys, now you're all of a sudden they got quiet. I know. this whole time they've been up here. Rowdy crowd. Come here, Dan Marshall. He's been up here throughout the morning. We'll get him on here. Up here with a T-shirt in hand. What time did you actually get here this morning?
I actually got here at 12 o'clock last night.
12 o'clock last night?
Yeah,
you
actually,
didn't tell me that. No sleep all night?
No sleep at all. I'm a diehard fan. I really am.
You're from Ohio, but you go to school out here.
I go to school Robert Morris College, and I'm a diehard, you know, Penguins, Pirates, Steelers fan.
What do you think about this, though, that today's the day it's going to be going down less than a half an hour?
It's sad, but, you know, it's historical at the same time. You know what I mean? All at the same time, it's nice. And I'm looking forward to it. It's cold, but I'm looking forward to it.
Something that you wouldn't miss. All right.
Exactly.
Thanks, Dan. Enjoy all your buddies. They really have been diehard fans. They were actually up here before I even got here this morning. I probably shouldn't admit that. But we do have a great crowd. You can see one of the best spots here to view the stadium. 30 minutes and counting. It's almost hard to believe that this has finally come to the day. Somebody described it as New Year's, Christmas, and July 4th all rolled into one at this point. We're even getting the fireworks after the implosion. So we're going to be following up for you up here on Mount Washington as folks continue to set up their cameras all along. And we're giving Shannon a run for the money, though, because we've got folks up here that have the kielbasa going, they have the outdoor heaters going, and they've got all their picnic, breakfast, and things that they need to make it throughout the entire morning up on Mount Washington. So I'll send it back to you two now. Have a good time, you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Kelly. Boy, there's a chance of Andrew Stocky now in the crowd. The crowd is really beginning to get riled.
Everybody's revved up now.
Hey, I paid the guys to come out and cheer for me, but
we are 22 minutes away from implosion time.
And you know what? People are challenging you, saying, "How long have you been up?" We've been up since 2:30. We'll be taking more surveys when we come back.
Call for Action reporter Susan Copen takes action for you to show you how to get rid of telemarketers for good. Monday on Action News at 11.
I want to get her something special, something she'll never expect.
This Valentine's Day, you can afford the best at King's Jewelry. Romance her with a beautiful diamond heart pendant, like this classic. The 1-carat pendant is just $4.99, and the 1/4 carat pendant is only $99.99.
One thing's for sure. She deserves King's Jewelry.
For that special sparkle, come to King's.
This Healthy for Life Fitbit is brought to you by Pfizer. Are you out of shape? People who are inactive are twice as likely to develop heart disease. Make time in your busy schedule to get some exercise. Physical activity can help you live a longer, healthier life, as well as reducing your risk of heart disease and stroke. Pfizer, helping you get healthy for life.
Wouldn't it be nice to buy a car, and when you go back for service or have questions, be able to find all those nice people that you met still there? Hi, I'm Gary Lynn, General Manager of Arnold Palmer Motors. And that's what you'll find here. Good people, good products, good service, and a large selection of new and used cars to choose from. So come see it. You're going to like the way we do business. Arnold Palmer Motors, Route 30 East, Latrobe.
It's Amish handcrafted furniture that will last a lifetime at the Oak Country Peddler. 3 floors filled with kitchen and dining room furniture, bedroom furniture. See the fabulous Flex Steel Gallery, 3 miles east of the Westmoreland Mall. The Oak Country Peddler, Route 30, Greensburg.
Nothing says you're my sweetheart like the irresistible temptations from Sarah's Candies. Visit our Cannonsburg showroom or call 1-888-SARRIS-1 for a retailer near you. Or shop online at www.sarahscandies.com.
Welcome back to our 5 continuous coverage of Action News this morning on Implosion Day, and we're going to get right up to Mount Washington, where the party has been going on since last night.
Michelle writes in the Grandview Saloon, chomping down on breakfast and making sure the crowd stays quiet when she needs them to be.
That's right. You got to make sure the crowd stays quiet, Sally. Not only are these people smart because it's warm and toasty, they've got a great view of the stadium over there. Take a look at this. This is the marvelous breakfast buffet at the Grandview Saloon. People are helping themselves. They've only got a couple minutes before they've got to get in place for the stadium. Donna, you made reservations how long ago?
3-4 weeks ago.
And you got your camera ready and your memorabilia. Notice they changed the sticker because the date changed, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're glad you're here?
I'm glad I'm warm.
Me too. I'm lucky to be in here. Okay, Dan and Beverly are here. Now, you guys have a pretty good spot. You can see pretty good, right?
Absolutely.
And you brought your binoculars?
You got it. We're all ready.
So you feel like you're in Three Rivers, right? When this is
Absolutely.
right?
Just like it.
All right, Lori, and you come over here too. Now, how long ago did you guys make reservations?
We made reservations about December, November. My husband actually made reservations.
And this is in memory of your parents.
Yes. They've been coming to the games for 30 plus years when they used to play in the Pitt Stadium.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're here. Sally and Mike, we are headed up on the 3rd floor deck. We're going to have the greatest view. So I'm going to put my coat on and run outside, and we'll check back with you in a minute.
All right, sounds great, Michelle. Thank you very much. 18 minutes away. It is time to check in with Stephen Cropper now. And Stephen, a lot of people are concerned about the dust cloud that's going to be created.
Sure, and that was obviously a concern. If you had low clouds or if we were to have an inversion, that was going to be a problem as far as the dispersion of the plume, but it looks as though that's not going to be a problem now. We're keeping an eye on the winds. I was just checking a moment ago as we came out. The winds are still basically from the west-northwest. Take a look at the graphic we've got put together for you. We have been watching winds coming in down the Ohio. If you look up the Ohio, that's the northwest, and the winds are coming from that direction, anywhere from 5 to 10 miles per hour. Allegheny General Hospital, the folks at Life Flight have helped us out there with their wind speed now at 4 miles per hour, but the funneling effects of the valley, the river valley, actually increased the wind speed just a bit by the river. Here's what's expected to happen. The plume rises upwards 100 feet or so, picked up by the west-northwesterly winds and carried basically towards the Golden Triangle right over PNC Park. Should they continue on that direction, they would be going in the general direction of the convention center. Still not sure exactly how much of a dust plume there will be, since there is not a roof, obviously, on Three River Stadium. Not sure exactly how much dust will be generated, but large particles are expected to disperse fairly quickly. Otherwise, the forecast for you this morning, if you're outdoors, you know it's cold. We can tell you that, and we put together a go forecast. We're giving it about an 8. Optimum weather conditions would be clear skies with light winds. We have winds that are going to be up to about 10 miles per hour. But no inversion this morning, no low clouds, so the plume should disperse without any major problems.
And it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day.
It is. It's turning out beautiful.
Right now we're going to go to Scott Stiller, guys, who was in Sky 4, and we are about D-15, Scott. So aren't the state police about this time closing the ramps to the Fort Duquesne Bridge?
Right now, Sally, they haven't closed them as of yet. I'm keeping my eye on it, and as we speak, they're just starting to move into place. We were showing you West Carson Street. That has turned into a parking lot. So if you're trying to use that as a vantage point, I don't think that's going to be a pretty good one. As you can see, the state police right now are moving into place over here. They're clearing out some of the people that were parked up on the bridge. And check this out. Some people are actually starting to stop down here on the Betts Bridge. And that was one of the things they didn't want anyone to do. So I'm sure with them trying to stop the other roadways, they haven't been able to address this yet. So it's starting to get a little wild, as you can imagine.
They're turning the Veterans Bridge into a parking lot, Scott.
Right now, Sally, people are pulling over on the side of the Veterans Bridge and stopping. And because the police are trying to shut the bridges down between the Fort Duquesne Bridge as well as over here by the Fort Pitt Bridge, people are stopping down there. And right now, no one's able to address it. As you can see, they have just now officially closed the ramps that lead from the city over to the Fort Duquesne Bridge.
All right, we know now we're getting very close, Scott. Thank you very much for that report. Keep it right here on Action News. We're going to check in with Scott Baker when Action News continues right after this short break.
Career Training Academy can help you start a new career as a massage therapist. Would you like to be self-employed and set your own hours? Consider a career in massage therapy. Career Training Academy can show you how.
Career Training Academy, training for a lifetime.
Come see what the road will be wearing this year. See the new cars and trucks in their Pittsburgh rear.
It's here, the 2001 Pittsburgh Auto Show. You know you want to go. It's at the David L. Lawrence Convention Center, February 10th through the 18th.
The car invents Pittsburgh's weather to go. One big, powerful, exuberant, spectacular show. The Pittsburgh Auto Show.
As a builder, I have to stand behind the work and the products that I use for the lifetime of the home. That's why we use Peachtree windows and doors. The product is just unbeatable with the price and the construction, the quality. Just knowing that you have a lifetime warranty with the window for the lifetime of the house, it's just great for everybody.
Peachtree Doors and Windows. Build your home to last a lifetime.
It's the preseason sale at Patio Enclosures Incorporated Casual Furniture and Sunroom Showrooms. Now's the time to save on the area's largest selection of name brand patio furniture, rattan and wicker. Our new inventory is in stock. See over 75 groups on display, or special order at no extra cost and have your set in time for spring delivery. The selection and savings are great at the preseason sale going on now at Patio Enclosures Incorporated Casual Furniture and Sunroom Showrooms.
Are you considering hormone replacement therapy? You may be eligible to participate in a research study. Participants need to be postmenopausal women 21 to 65 years old. You may receive compensation for your time and travel. Call ICSL Clinical Studies at 1-888-463-3087 today.
Welcome back to Action News this morning. Right now it is exactly 7:47. And it's time to check in again with Scott Baker.
That's right, Scott. In 3 minutes, we're going to get a siren warning. Is that right?
We're just a couple of minutes away from that siren warning, Sally. And the security has really tightened up now. Not only have they shut down, obviously, the ramps and the bridges around here, but I've been noticing the patrols as they've been moving up and down along the sides here have really been intense. And it's amazing to me, people have been kind of sneaking down along the sides here with little children. One of the motorcycle police officers roared up sirens at full and to chase off one family, then swung around and had to chase off another couple of people trying to walk down here like underneath the Clark bar just to get up close, and that's not a good idea, and they are being very intent about chasing them off. I haven't seen anybody like arrested, but they've been very diligent in sending them away, so security has really moved in on all sides. And at the same time, you're starting to see sort of that festive atmosphere down here. We're not exactly at a party like up on the mountain or on the Clipper, but it's amazing to me how many of the staff people and the construction workers and all the people have their own little handheld video cameras. Everybody wants to get that glimpse. You know, we have our 20 cameras around, but there's probably about another couple hundred down here ready to record this event. Obviously, what is happening now is that final checks are going in place. They're checking the perimeter, making sure that no animal, as Sally pointed out earlier, is anywhere near the stadium, and then they'll fire that early warning siren, and we'll begin the final process of counting down. So we're here just next to PNC Park with the Vantage Point, and we'll be getting back to you right after the implosion.
All right, Scott, thank you very much. We are 11 minutes away. What we are going to do right now is take that short break. As Scott said, 20 cameras. We have reporters everywhere throughout the city.
Cameras within the stadium.
We're getting things set right now, so keep it right here.
We'll be coming back, and then you will see the implosion without interruption.
I'm Mike Clark.
And I'm Sally Wiggin. You asked for more local news with fewer commercials. Now at 11 o'clock, Action News is taking action for you with 12 minutes of uninterrupted news.
And fewer commercials than any other television station.
Action News at 11 has more reporters than anyone else. That means more in-depth coverage of late-breaking stories.
See how we put your feedback to work at 11 during 12 minutes of uninterrupted news with fewer commercials than any other station.
More news, fewer commercials. It's another way we're taking action for you.
I hate flipping mattresses.
That's right, flipping mattresses isn't fun. But today we're introducing the Never Turn mattress. Once we put it in for you, all you have to do is enjoy. Kick it off, we're giving you 6 months, same as cash. Need a mattress and box spring?
Tony's got it.
Want a better airbag?
Tony's got it.
Remember, we don't sell mattresses, we sell sleep. Come in and visit.
You're not going to see us for a while. We're just going to be showing you shots of the stadium. You're not going to miss one single second of all of this excitement.
And if you have not set your VCRs, now's the time to hit play and record. It is 7:52. We are live from Point State Park and everywhere throughout Pittsburgh.
You know what? That's something I didn't think of, Mike, is to set a VCR. I don't know how to set my VCR.
You know, neither do I. That's what kids are for.
That's right. That's true.
They'll figure it out at home.
We can get copies from the station. You know, we're talking here. We haven't heard the siren. That's supposed to come at 7:50. 10-minute siren, and I think we would have heard it. So there must be a slight delay, or either our clocks are off, which I don't think is possible at this point.
Well, at about 7 o'clock this morning, you heard Doug Loazu talk about the possibility it may be a few minutes after 8 o'clock. We have not heard that officially, though. But again, you have not heard that siren that you were talking about. But Sally, we were talking a moment ago about the special memories of Three Rivers. And it's going to be very exciting once Three Rivers is demolished and taken away, all the new development that's going to be built here in between the two new stadiums. But looking back, not to get too sentimental, what are some of your memories?
Oh, they have done that. I've just been told in my ear they have done the siren. We've got such an uproar down underneath us, I don't think we could hear it. But so we are right on time, everybody, to correct that.
Talk about your most memorable time inside the stadium.
Well, my first memory was in 1980. That was the first time I was in Three Rivers Stadium. It was 1980, the year after they won the World Series. And back then, Bill Madlock, Dave Parker, Willie Stargell, all still playing, Tim Foley, you know, a lot of really neat names. And I was very excited. And we look like we're in the Everglades here. No, the river rescue boat is coming by. By the way, here's one river rescue boat patrolling this area. The Coast Guard has shut the river down from Clementi Park down to the Carnegie Science Center on this side of the Allegheny and the Ohio. And also, we're going back to memories. Also, there is one ambulance on standby, and paramedics are under heightened alert, as are the fire stations in the area, and the chief of the fire department is also on site near the stadium, just to give you a little bit more of information. They're making sure that every precaution is being taken. Best memory, it's odd. No, best memory was watching it on television, unfortunately for me, the Indianapolis game they won, and that last-minute nail-biter. But the most painful memory was I was at the San Diego game, and this was the first time I'd ever been to playoffs on the way to the Super Bowl, because I missed the Super Bowl years. And I remember I went to every single playoff game. I wore the same clothes to every game. I didn't wash them. And I could understand finally what the 70s had been like for all of the people here.
Andrew Stockey, I was talking to you about that very same game, and when the pass was broken up, a lot of people wanted to demolish Three Rivers Stadium that afternoon.
That is one of the really bad memories I think we'll all keep with us until the stadium comes down. I was thinking about the good memories, and one stands out in my mind, and that was July 12th, 1997. It was Jackie Robinson night. I was asked to MC the Jackie Robinson pregame ceremony, and then Cordova and Rincon, Francisco Cordova and Ricardo Rincon, went out and threw the combined no-hitter. And of course, what made that game so special, it went to extra innings. Mark Smith, 10th inning, hit the game-winning home run, and that is the one memory that stays with me through my brief stint here. And it was such an incredible night all the way around.
Back in 1995 was the first time I took my oldest son to a Major League Baseball game, and it happened to be the day Hideo Onomo was making his first appearance at Three Rivers Stadium. And I took my son, and everyone was crowded around Hideo Onomo. I went to the park 2 hours before the game. All the fans were crowded around getting pictures of Hideo Onomo, trying to get his autograph. I kind of went down the right field line, and Chan Ho Park was just called up. He was the first weekend he was in the major leagues, and my son held out his hand like this, and Chan Ho looked at him. And I've been to many Major League Baseball games, never got a ball in my life. He came over and he gave my son a baseball. And he nodded.
Wow.
I don't think he spoke much English then, but we still have that ball at home. It was one of the greatest memories I had.
You know, one thing that stays with me to this day, the final game at the stadium. Andy Van Slyke was outside the stadium signing autographs. I asked him about his memories. He goes, you know something, Andrew? When I played here, I just kind of thought it was a building, a concrete building, someplace I went to work. Now that I'm here, I really appreciate it, and I didn't think I'd miss it as much as I do. And he had a tear in his eye. And I think a lot of the players feel that way now, former players, that, hey, this place was something special, and only now do we appreciate what it was all about.
You know what, guys? I'm going to interrupt our reminiscing right now to go to Scott Baker, who, what are they doing now, Scott?
Sally, right now, everybody's kind of getting in position. The mayor is here, Doug Loizzo from CDI, of course, and Liz King and her son are taking their place there at a little platform. I guess we're about 150 yards away from Three River Stadium, and they're going to depress that ceremonial plunger here momentarily. So they're kind of getting into position. We had the 10-minute siren, and we've just had the immediate siren to kind of get us into the final countdown.
Oh my goodness.
We are less than 3 minutes away from the implosion right now, 7:57.
There's sort of this hushed tone in Scott's voice.
Well, yeah, everybody over here, it's kind of real solemn, I guess. I wasn't trying, I wasn't consciously saying, go ahead, I need to have a hushed tone, but it just sort of seems to be how people are over here. There's just everybody kind of watching, and I guess at this point realizing this is going to happen. And and I think, now here we've got the full, the sun really kind of coming up over the horizon and really lighting up Three River Stadium. And it's going to be something to see here just in the next 2 minutes.
It's not only awesome, it's a little bit eerie, wouldn't you say, Scott?
It is, and you hesitate to use the word surreal, but yes. It almost is. I mean, here you're standing here, and it's clear skies, a Goodyear blimp, and all these people, and all for a giant building that's going to come crashing down.
And actually, we want to remind everybody that CDI took what 4 weeks to wire the Kingdome in Seattle, and they've done this in a number of days. Isn't that right, Scott?
Well, this certainly was a compressed timetable for CDI. They like to say that they're capable of bringing down any building anywhere on Earth in a matter of days, and they certainly do that on all continents. And so they're prepared to come in and do that. They obviously like to have more time when they have the time, but if they have to, they can do it rapidly. And I think that's the heritage of this company in all 52 years of its history.
Okay, Scott, you are watching
the final countdown.
WTAE TV Pittsburgh right now. We are counting down the seconds to the implosion.
1, fire!
I don't know if I can talk.
Sally, if you look, most of the wind in the upper levels of the atmosphere, about 100, 150 feet off the deck of the river, is taking it towards the Golden Triangle, right along the river. The dust plumes just now coming across the Allegheny, just beginning to approach the point. So we are in the lower levels, closer to the river, where the winds are not as great from the west-northwest. But if you can, just to the about 100, 150 feet up, the dust plume is beginning to drift towards the Golden Triangle as expected.
As expected, Stephen.
As expected.
It is drifting right in here, isn't it?
It is. It's a rather eerie feeling when it's coming across in this direction. I would imagine...
the crowd beneath us is beginning to clear out because we're just about to be enveloped by this plume.
And we do have a plastic tarp on our tent that if it does get too severe, the dust, we can drop the tarp on the tent if need be.
You can see right behind us. This is what you see.
I am speechless. I can't believe what we've just seen. It was remarkable. I mean, I think a lot of us were sitting here with tears coming down our eyes.
There's about 450 people right beneath us. And Sally, there are a lot of tears in the crowd right now.
And there's a lot of dust on top of it.
If you can envision it, the dust is rather small, minute, almost like ash dust coming down. Larger particulates are obviously dispersing closer to the stadium itself.
Now there's, what, 120,000 tons of concrete that came down of debris?
It's setting up, yes, right around 100 cubic feet of debris that's going to be left there. The perspective that you see on the camera there, the winds are coming, the bulk of the plume now blowing towards the Golden Triangle, so the winds are from the west or from the northwest, taking it into the Golden Triangle. We are, I would say, just on the southern periphery of that, so we're starting to get just the lower levels of the dust coming across.
But it's not as thick as we might have expected.
True, I've never been through an implosion, but this is pretty thick as far as the dust goes.
Thick.
Yeah.
How long do you think it'll take before we actually get a chance to see
until the stadium
remains?
I would estimate maybe another 15, 20 minutes before it clears out enough for us to see all the way across.
Because I'm going to be very interested to see from another vantage point how this stadium actually fell. Because everything you read, the last part of the stadium to fall was supposed to be the part of the stadium
now there
closest.
We see a shot right there. I think that this is, they said that some of the steel structure would be remaining, and that was a shot of it.
Right, that's right next to the new Steelers Stadium right there.
Is that right next to it?
That is right next to the new Steelers Stadium. That's what you're looking at right now.
All right.
If you can envision it, too, for the folks at home, it's like being in a thick fog. The visibility here, the river across maybe 200-300 feet, but we can't see from one side of the river to the other because...
With a bit of an orange tint to it.
We can see basically 40 feet in front of us right now, and that's about it.
Yeah, the visibility has been reduced greatly with the explosions.
Now this is a shot from Allegheny Center rooftop where Sheldon Ingram is right now.
That's phenomenal.
And we were told that you would see some mangled steel sticking out of the ground.
That is
that will have to be cut down and then carted away.
All right, now we're going to take a shot from ground zero. There it is.
This is at the PNC Bank parking lot right now on the north side.
It looks like something out of an apocalyptic movie.
Mike and Sally, I don't know if you can hear me. I've lost my my IFB at this point. Yeah, we just dialed out. Just in case I'll keep talking just in case you can't hear me. We got very little dust on this side, as we saw the dust kind of swirl over and head toward towards the south shore. Here on the north shore, things remained relatively clear, but you can see the remaining parts of the superstructure, the steel on this side, and obviously the thing that they're going to be looking most to see if there's any damage to the new Steelers Stadium. That was one of the things they were trying to avoid.
Well, Scott, can you hear us now?
I don't think Scott has IFB, so he's not able to.
But whatever dust, Sally, that Scott is not getting, we are certainly getting right now.
It was very surreal after the implosion to watch the dust plume coming across. Andrew Stockey looked over at me and nodded and said, "Is that coming our way?" The bulk of it looked as though it was going towards the city, but we were just low enough that some of it did drift directly across.
It's amazing. Was I the only one who thought they felt concussions?
Oh, it was.
We definitely felt it here.
Did we feel it?
Absolutely.
Here? Okay.
I actually saw you jump a little, Sal.
And there was that initial, as Scott was saying, there was the initial trigger round, and then there was the initial round of the actual implosion itself.
But to watch it collapse, and it was designed to collapse to the west, is that right?
Yes.
And this is the new shot
You're
of the
actually getting
new
a shot
Steelers
now there.
Stadium. Interesting. That
You
interesting.
just see how close. 65 feet away. You really get a feeling of that it had to be precise, and from the first look, it looks like it has been a success.
It seems so clean. I wonder if they did escape without any windows being broken in the new stadium. I mean,
it's hard
because
to imagine. We felt it across the river.
Right,
It's
right.
hard to imagine that nothing would be damaged right next door, so close.
And that's a shot from our Sky 4 right now.
Fort Duquesne Bridge, we're just beginning to see it now.
Now, right now, you're going to see the replay of the implosion from Sky 4's vantage point.
Let's take a look at that.
Right now, we're looking at Mount Washington and the view of the stadium from there. Here's Mount Washington in slow motion, the shot from there.
Wow.
Sally, are you okay? I was worried when it happened. It was a terrible thing, my dear. I was thinking of you.
Just breathtaking.
All right, stand by. We're going to be going to Allegheny Center for a replay of this. It's amazing. It looks like something dying,
Yeah,
just
and then you
slowly dying. I don't mean seem to be morbid about it, but that was my feeling. That's why I sort of began to cry.
Yeah. You're not alone, Sally. Looking down the crowd, a lot of people. This is from Allegheny Center vantage point.
What's the estimated acreage here that this covered?
The footprint of the stadium are, I think, around 27 acres, 84 all total with the park and what have you.
And all of that in a
Wow,
puff of
this is
smoke.
from the Allegheny Center. Let's go up above right now and look from Sky 4. Slow motion from Sky 4. And Sally, the higher the elevation, you really get an appreciation of what it took to take this stadium down so perfectly.
Actually, CDI advised people that the farther they were away and the higher, the better view. But you know what? Our view was amazing. Oh my gracious, now we can see it.
Wow.
And it looks so, the stark difference between the new stadium and what is left of the old.
Just off to the right there, almost prehistoric looking. It's like a dinosaur, to use an analogy.
You can actually see CCAC's campus.
Here's another
where
angle.
we are.
Through, yes.
This is from our angle. Actually, this may be Station Square.
That's from Point State Park.
That's from our angle then.
And it was, Sally. What we were told, the last part of the stadium to fall was going to be the part closest to the new Steeler Stadium. And it looked like it was not the last part to collapse.
You know what? Stephen said that the image is, it really is of a great dinosaur collapsing.
Yeah.
It is, and they're still standing on the outer edges. Some structure, as you mentioned, that they said would still be standing, but that is almost prehistoric and eerie with the smoke still around. We are starting to see, too, across the river. It's starting to clear out nicely now, so that's...
Let's look at the Sky 4 replay again in slow motion. Here it is.
Nice job.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. At least it looks like it.
And this is the
from
first
these
time.
vantage points.
It's the first time from Point State Park you can actually get a look at CCAC right across the river.
Yeah, as Andrews was saying, you can see the campus there. I see trucks moving in the foreground.
It is nice to see movement over there.
Yeah,
because from the looks of it, it looks just desolate.
Let's look at what people are looking at from the north side right now. This is a live picture from the north side, from the Allegheny Center. And let's take a peek right between the new stadiums. Wow.
Yeah, I think wow is about the only word to describe it now.
Well, the dust is still pretty thick there, Sally. You don't know how close the old stadium fell to the new Steeler Stadium. From where we're sitting, it looks like it's butted right next to it.
Just reach out and touch the new stadium, and it's still standing. That's what is so incredible about this implosion process. Now we've got some river rescue boats and the Coast Guard coming by.
I was just trying to look up how long the estimate would be to remove the remaining rubble that's there. You know, the past couple of months they've already been doing some pre-demolition work.
Yeah, they've carted away 50 truckloads of concrete and steel and debris. They have to have this place ready by the end of April because that's going to be temporary parking for the PNC Park and the new Steelers
They have
Stadium.
to start the right-of-way work.
It's mind-boggling to look at that mass over there and assume that they're going to take that away that quickly.
Well, the dust is beginning to clear, as you see. Let's go up on Mount Washington right now and check in with Kelly Fry, who is at the overlook. Kelly.
Yeah, Mike, you can see I am covering my face up here right now with this mask. The dust may be clearing down there, but we are being really hit with it hard up here on Mount Washington right now. In fact, really, this was the main direction that all this dust cloud has started to come. You can see it across here. In fact, a lot of the folks up here, I don't think were prepared for this dust. We had hundreds here just a few moments ago, and now a lot of the crowd has cleared out, except for some of the folks that are still coming out to brave the dust cloud. But the folks who are still here, you can see everyone is covering their faces, trying to keep the dust out of their eyes. It is beginning to gather as well up here on the overlook. You can begin to see all the dust that's gathering up here as this begins to move on through, and this is, I'm sure, just the first part of it. You can see from behind me that we still have all this dust cloud that is moving its way across the river up to here on Mount Washington. I don't know if you can see some of the crowd here behind me, but
oh, we just lost Kelly. You know, we were talking about, oh, we've got Kelly back. We want to go back to Kelly.
At this point, you can hear me okay? Well, you can see some of the crowd here. Everyone has their faces covered. It's getting in our eyes up here as well, some of this dust. There was a warning before, of course, that before they imploded the stadium that went out earlier this week, folks who have any asthma-related problems or any type of respiratory illnesses should not be in this area because of this very reason with the dust moving across right now. It's clearing out, though. A strong wind is going to help to clear it out, but I'm sure we still have many, many more minutes to go until this all passes through. It'll be interesting to see then if the crowds start to come back again to see what's left of Three Rivers. But for now, a lot of folks have cleared out just to get indoors until this thick cloud of dust moves out of here. So we'll report back to you guys in just a few minutes and we'll see how it's going.
Good idea. All right. Thanks very much, Kelly.
Cover up.
There are some people who really can't walk away and get out of the dust cloud right now.
Right now, they're on the water. Wendy, what was it like from there?
Oh, gosh, Sally, you know, I was listening to some of your comments about it, and I've only lived here almost 3 years now, and watching that come down, it's just awesome to see it. And the folks here, just this big collective gasp when they saw this. You can see, you know, the skeleton of what remains over our shoulder here with this flag in the foreground. We're just drifting ever so slightly right now, but what is very interesting, though, is to see the dust now coming over the bridge here and seeing just how bad it is. Folks inside or folks outside here, once the cloud started getting to us, made, you know, beeline for the inside. We have masks on. Our crew here's got the masks on, and we're covered with some dust and whatnot. So now they're creeping back outside, but I have to tell you, that was just I don't know if you can put words with that. It was really neat. And people here, isn't that, you know, educated of me? Really neat.
I know.
That's exactly what we're saying.
But you know what? I think we can see you from here. We can't see you, Wendy, but we can finally see the Gateway Clipper fleet because they've allowed them to move forward.
Right. We're you know, inching ever so slowly, but now you can see the dust has come across the city. So we got walloped with it pretty hard, and I guess Kelly's getting some of the aftermath up there on Mount Washington, but it's definitely starting to settle here. Still stuff flying around in the air, though, but the folks here certainly not disappointed with their $15 a person charge to see this front and center in the middle of the Monongahela River. Just absolutely awesome. Back to you guys.
Wow.
Thanks very much, Wendy. We just got an amazing piece of information. We're going to look at another replay right now, and I'll tell you about it as we view. This is the Station Square replay, guys, and we've just been told from CDI officials here on our side of the river that nothing fell within 40 feet of the new stadium.
Which is just incredible when you think about the mass the massive amount of concrete. And the Steelers Stadium was only 65 feet next to the old stadium.
120,000 tons of concrete. And from what we understand, 8,000 tons of steel and rebar still in that area will be hauled away to scrap dealers, shredded and recycled, and Three Rivers will sort of have a rebirth in other structures.
And they really, yeah, exactly. They really need to clear that as quickly as possible to create those roads that Stephen was talking about, because at the height of the removal, 40 to 50 trucks may be on the road at any given time. And we're told that each truck can haul away about 12 to 20 cubic yards. So the total truck trips, 7,500 truck trips to cart it all away.
I don't know if we can get another shot from Mount Washington, but Kelly and Wendy were both talking about the plume sort of moving in their direction. It appears as though the lower levels, the plume may have been picked up and moved more from north to south as opposed to north from the north and northwest, so that maybe the upper portion went into the city and the Golden Triangle and a little towards the north, or across the North Shore there, and the other portion kind of moved downriver, down the Mon. And the plume was coming up towards Kelly, and then also Wendy had some plume coming her way too. So the indication would be that the winds were more from the north as opposed from the west-northwest at that particular level.
Yeah, it was a little bit surprising. There was more than I expected, but it didn't last for very long.
Yeah, having not been through an implosion, you don't really know in your mind how to put it all together. You can't get your mind wrapped around it, but there was a plume.
You go like
a
this,
little
and
dusty
dust
now.
clouds come
yeah,
up.
like I've just ridden in off the back 40 there, and I'm dusting off my boots. But it was not. It had a little bit of a hint, maybe, of an odor of dynamite, and then also the concrete itself.
Oh, you know what? We should show you the desk. Can we get a shot of the desk? Oh, here.
Water's ruined.
I was going to drink some of the water, but I don't think we can. If you can look at this, I mean, it's just Action News. You could
stuff to spell backwards.
And actually, I am, excuse me, beginning to cough as we stir it up.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what Scott would have gotten very little of this. Is that right? At
That's what he
Ground
told
Zero?
us. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was on the north side. The winds would have been coming from that direction, and it would have taken the plume away. But it'll be interesting to see how in the replays if we can actually gauge where the wind picked it up and moved it in certain directions. But folks at Mount Washington, obviously, as Kelly was saying, picking up some of the dust plume there too.
I still cannot get over the fact that none of the old stadium fell within 40 feet of the new stadium. It'd be interesting to see if any of the windows were damaged to the new Steelers Stadium.
Now, the tallest building that they have brought down, I think it's over 400 feet. It was in 1998. It was the old Hudson's department store in Detroit. Tallest building in the world that's been brought down by an implosion, from what I understand. I wonder how this factors in with tonnage and steel.
And size.
Well.
We finally have one of our reporters back now. Let's go to Sheldon, who is live at Allegheny Center. So how was it for you, Sheldon?
Well, Sally, a number of emotions went through me when I saw this explosion. First of all, I thought it was stunning to see the power of the explosives. Then it was thrilling to see this building come down so fast. But I also felt a feeling of sadness because Three Rivers Stadium was in fact a house of champions, and to see that building come down the way it did was certainly stunning, to say the least. Now, we're 1,400 feet away from the stadium. Now, there is an 800-foot perimeter around the stadium, a safety zone. Well, if you look on the ramp connecting the Fort Duquesne Bridge and Route 65, you see some flashing lights. Those are where police cars are. Those police cars are inside that 800-foot perimeter that was designated by CDI. They were probably just maybe 200 feet away from the stadium during the implosion. So as stunning as it was for us to see it outside of that safety zone, it had to be an awesome view, an awesome feeling for those police officers sitting just close to the stadium. Here's a replay of the implosion from our vantage point. We're 225 feet from ground level at Allegheny Center. This building here is 13 stories, and we're about 1,400 feet away. And so there you can see what's happening with the implosion of the stadium as we see it here. A number of people, dozens of folks are up here on the roof who work inside of Allegheny Center, this building, to see the implosion, and they stayed here until the dust cleared. Now, initially, a couple of weeks ago, we were concerned that the wind would be blowing the dust northeast of the stadium towards our direction. but it was blowing southeast, blowing in the southeast direction from the northwest, and that's why the wind pushed all of the dust towards you guys and the point and towards the downtown area. So we were spared, and we just looked at the cloud of dust engulf you guys. And Kendall Cross, my photographer, we looked at ourselves and we said that we're glad we are where we are today and at this moment during the implosion, because we were able to escape that big cloud of dust that so quickly engulfed the downtown area and the point. So this is a great location for us. And just beneath me here, they've just opened up traffic along 279 headed towards the airport and Route 65. Traffic almost looks like it's at rush hour because folks are slowly passing the stadium, getting a good look at the debris and the rubble that's lying there. And it does look like an old dinosaur, something that just collapsed and took its last breath, as someone said a little earlier. So we'll be back a little bit later in the morning to have some more. This is the vantage point, 225 feet off the ground on the north side at Allegheny Center. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I'm sure the architect, Alan Ritchie, wouldn't relish having this stadium likened to a dinosaur. In fact, it wasn't a dinosaur at 31 years old, but a lot of people feel it's time for a new stadium.
Yeah, it's nice to get that perspective from Sheldon Ingram.
I'm going to quote here from Controlled Demolition, Doug Luazu, who said to our own Rick Earl right after it happened, "So what did you think?" Quote, "Yahoo!" I guess when you've done enough of this, David, day after day, and it goes off, just according to plan, that, it's just another day on the job for Doug Luazu.
He looked relieved, quite honestly, and like I said before, he's had a tough couple of weeks here leading up to this, and he just wanted it to come down without any pain, without any problem, and it happened. And the Steelers' new stadium appears to be all there the way it's supposed to be. They're going to remove those Kevlar tarps that they have in front of the windows and see just exactly what happened, but by all accounts, it went the way it was supposed to go.
And a lot of folks up on top of Mount Washington this morning. I was up at Lamont weeks ago where they were planning to serve 600 meals this morning. That's how many people had made reservations at $50 a pop to watch the implosion from that vantage point. Right down Grandview is the Monterey Bay Fish Grotto. Channel 11's Steve Chenevy is at a party there. Good morning, Steve.
Well, good morning, Newland. You can add about 300 or so people to the list that were here tonight, including many local dignitaries. And one of the best views in all of the city, high above Grandview Avenue here on Mount Washington. A couple of the people were filming and taking pictures and said, it was the fastest 17 seconds that they had ever seen, and just lots of oohs and ahs, as you can imagine. And take a look out the window, and you'll see the view from here as to what's left of where Three Rivers Stadium stood for more than 30 years. You can see now just a pile of rubble standing right next to where the Steelers will play beginning in the fall. Now, just below, when we take a look down to Grandview Avenue, you can see what's left behind from the big party that was here almost all night. Still a few people straggling around. You could see some folks even brought a tent to sleep in last night. These folks started lining up 1 o'clock in the morning is when the first people arrived. And as you can imagine, once those bars closed last night, you had plenty more people. And the who's who list here at Monterey Bay, everybody from representatives from the mayor's office to a number of state representatives, former Allegheny councilmen, commissioners were here, and just about anybody else you can think of. This was the place to be. Mayor Murphy is on his way here now, along with the folks who won the right to push that ceremonial plunger, and they will be here shortly. They're on their way trying to make it through traffic up the hill here to Mount Washington. Reporting live from Monterey Bay atop Mount Washington, Steve Chenevy, Channel 11 News.
Yeah, Steve's had the best vantage point. He's been nice and warm, and they're serving food. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
That's the best. You can't beat it. That's from Point State Park, as you see the Gateway fleet zip on by. They had a great vantage point, no doubt. We want to tell you also that we were able to secure our cameras inside Three Rivers Stadium. And we're working on bringing those tapes to you and showing what those angles reveal. I can't wait to see that from the inside. That's going to look a little hairy, I am sure.
We had crews out there on Friday, David, who were stringing cable and getting ready for this. And the concern was that when the building came down, that maybe some of the debris would hit a few of those cables and we would lose our picture. But they're telling us down in the control room that it looks good so far. They think they've captured a lot of it, and that the cables, as I'm just guesstimating here, that are intact. And we will probably have some excellent pictures from inside the stadium to bring you.
And if you're wondering about what you're seeing right there, that is supposed to be like that. That still has to be torn. There's a lot of work that still has to be done down there. They've got to, get bulldozers and a lot of heavy equipment to lift out all those tons and tons of concrete and steel. And the steel is still up, as you see, in some parts ringing the stadium.
And work will begin right away, David, for the new 120-foot wide right-of-way that will be part of the street network between the new stadium and PNC Park. And all of this is going to be cleared away. Eventually, this will be the site of a lot of entertainment. This is part of this plan where they're going to have parking, the park, and, of course, a venue for fans to go and interact.
One more view before we take a commercial break of one of our many angles of the implosion. This one, I believe, from Point State Park.
Looks close.
Boy, that was. It's a Steeler Stadium right next door, and it looks the way they wanted it to work. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. More Implosion coverage is coming your way.
Weather coverage you can count on Channel 11 News, the most accurate local forecast.
Verizon Wireless introduces Mobile Messenger.
Chelsea, Dad wrote us an email. Yep.
Now you can chat using your wireless phone without talking. Mobile Messenger from Verizon Wireless. Simple, affordable, national. Join in.
Channel 11 Morning News brings you the 11-minute advantage. 11 minutes of uninterrupted news, weather, and traffic at the top of every half hour.
Live coverage of breaking news.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes.
Plus current weather conditions on your screen all the time.
And when severe weather threatens, Storm Team 11 crews bring you live pictures of the approaching storms. The 11-minute advantage, only on Channel 11 Morning News from 5 to 7 a.m. Coverage you can count on.
Dream of the endless possibilities each new day brings. Miracle, you make it happen. The new fragrance by Lancôme. Discover Miracle and a gift with any 2150 Lancôme purchase, now at Kaufmann's.
Announcing 3.9% APR financing on every 2001 Subaru at Suburban Subaru, Pittsburgh's favorite Subaru dealer. Foresters, Legacies, Outbacks, Imprezas. They're all in stock, and for a limited time, save hundreds, even thousands of dollars with low 3.9% financing. Suburban Subaru, now one of the top volume Subaru dealers in the nation. Our sales volume will save you money. Suburban Subaru, conveniently located on Route 19 Perry Highway in the North Hills.
Coverage you can count on Channel 11 News.
Welcome back, everybody. Take a look at that. It's down. Three River Stadium is no more. It went off, we believe, as planned. We have yet to hear from controlled demolition officials about did it go exactly as they wanted, but from all accounts, it looks pretty good. That's a live view from USX Tower. The tallest building in Pittsburgh, 800-some feet high. And that's really something to see, because we've been looking at it now since 1970, and it's not there anymore, Newland.
Last time we checked in with Channel 11's Rick Earl, he was telling us the controlled demolition was going around surveying the stadium area. And I understand we have the pictures from inside the stadium back right now. We're going to bring those to you in just a second. But we do have some other vantage points of this implosion for folks this morning,
That's
David.
right. I think we had a view from Chopper 11 we wanted to take a look at. And it's always amazing to see it from the chopper, and there it is as it just folds down around the outside. And that huge pile of dust rises to the air, which hung in the air, by the way, for several minutes and finally dissipated.
Chopper 11 was flying over the sky for much of the morning beforehand. Channel 11's Andy Gassmeyer was up in Chopper 11 when this went down. And Andy, this has got to be a memorable moment for you as well.
Yes, it was indeed, Newland, and I echo the comments made by David when this implosion did occur. I'm not an implosion expert, but if you take a look just below us, we are told that everything did go according to game plan. But from our perspective, and it's somewhat limited because at 1,800 feet, you don't have the depth perspective that you'd like to have. But there you see an entire section of bleachers still standing. That would be the northeast corner of the stadium. Now, we have a similar section of bleachers standing, not as high as this particular section, in the southwest corner of the station. We were told, as you know, by Controlled Demolition Incorporated, that 3 sides of the stadium will collapse slightly outward, allowing the area near the new Steelers Stadium to drop straight down. Well, of course, that went according to game plan, it would appear, but we have these 2 sections of stadium seating still standing, which appears to be much higher than we were led to believe would be the case.
Andy, we're going to cut you off for a second and take a look at a vantage point from inside the stadium. Take a look at this, folks. One of our interior cameras. There it goes.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
you could see them going off, and then you see, of course, the cameras cut off because eventually the cameras got cut off because of the implosion.
We couldn't carry the signal anymore at that point. That's a live view from Chopper 11 again. Andy, sorry about that. While you were talking before, we had a brief view of one of our interior shots, and we got it again. But continue on, Andy. Sorry about that.
No, the only thing we were told, David, as we all were told, we would probably wind up with a pile of rubble that might be about 60 feet above the floor of the stadium. But we were also told that all the walls of the stadium would be coming down, that is coming inward. And of course, we're having a hard time seeing because of the reflection here against the monitor in the helicopter. But we were told that that section would come down, and it did not.
And Andy, we're looking at another interior camera. It just went black again. It looks like we get actually probably a couple of seconds of good video as the initial part of the building starts to come down in that northwest, northeastern corner.
Quite honestly, Newland, I'm glad we've got anything from inside the stadium. This was a big risk on our part, and we didn't know what we'd get. We did get something, and it's fascinating to watch it come down from the inside. We go live again now to Andy Gassmeyer. Andy, sorry for the interruptions, but we want to make sure people see those interior views.
That's okay, David. I understand that. And you can see from this perspective here that there is still a section of bleachers still standing. We had been told, as I was trying to say before, that we would see a pile of rubble once this implosion occurred that would still be about 60 foot high off the floor of what used to be the stadium. But we see 2 sections of stadium seating still standing, and one is on the northeast corner of the stadium, and one is on the southwest corner of the stadium. There you see it right now. Now, I am not sure if that is supposed to be standing like that, but that certainly is considerably higher above the floor of the stadium than we were led to believe would be the case. And you would think that would tend to take more work afterwards in terms of the removal of the rubble by those crews who are assigned to do that job. David and Newland, back to you.
You know, Controlled Demolition was telling us that when they were talking to Rick Earl just after the implosion happened, they think that they can pull that down without a lot of trouble.
Right. Okay, another interior view, folks. We don't know how long it's going to last, but we're going to see the beginning of it.
You saw that flash of the explosive. And then it should start to come down about now.
Yeah, these cameras, by the way, have no microphones on them, and
oh, that's a nice perspective.
That's a tremendous view. It only lasted a few seconds after it started to fall, but at least we had something from the inside, and it was certainly a unique view of what went on. We're going to have another look at one coming up in just a few seconds from the inside. Andy talked about those steel structures that we had mentioned before from Controlled Demolition. We're hoping to not be taller than 60 feet. They appear to be taller than 60 feet. So did everything go perfectly? Perhaps not. What they wanted was it to come down quickly and smoothly, for no one to get hurt, and for the Steelers Stadium to not get hurt. Another interior view, Newland.
And we should see a couple of flashes of the explosives going off on some of the 800 pillars as the stadium begins to come down. You can hear them.
You can hear that one.
That camera did not last too long. I'm guessing what happened, and this was the concern of our chief photographer, Mark Johnston, earlier in the week, was that as the debris started to come down, that they might lose their cables, that there also would be some damage to the cameras themselves. And evidently, that appears to have happened, just what we thought would happen.
Exactly. We got a few seconds, some of those camera angles lasting a little longer than others, none of them lasting as long as, the ones we have from the North Shore and high atop USX Tower, Mount Washington, so on and so forth. But it does give you an idea of what it was like to be inside. Is on that last one, you heard the blasts, and then you see the top part of the stadium start to come down.
And here's another perspective. And I understand this is from CCAC. We had a camera stationed over there as that series of timed explosions went off for the implosion. And we have not seen this video. This is just coming into us, so we're seeing it as you see it right now.
This is a great perspective on how close that is to the Steelers' new football stadium.
You can see the protective meshing on the right side of your screen and the explosives going off on all 5 floors. She goes.
You know what, Newland, except for a couple of things there at the last second that's kind of falling off the top, it did not go toward the Steelers Stadium. It fell almost straight down and, in fact, a little bit in from what I could see.
Isn't it amazing that a $35 million structure that took years to build, some 27 months to build back in the late 1960s, early 70s, can come down in just 17 seconds?
That is the marvel of modern implosion work. These guys are really artists when it comes to being able to bring down buildings almost in a straight line. They never know exactly how it's going to go. Some of them don't always go as planned, but the ones we've seen lately, and this one certainly seems to have gone pretty darn well.
It's like an elephant in a ballet. You know, you think about some of the buildings that they have to bring down in such tight and narrow and delicate circumstances, and I point to the building that made room for Lazarus downtown. They had to work within such tight, you've got Saks Fifth Avenue right across the street, and they just brought that baby down
that was
gently
beautifully
and
done, straight
perfect.
down by the same company here. Natasha Brown is live across the river there at Point State Park with more for us. Natasha.
Well, you know, David and Newland, we definitely had the best vantage point and the closest as far as I could see, and there was no doubt about that, especially just after the implosion. We kind of waited for a little bit. We saw the sparks of dynamite flying as they went around the stadium, and all of a sudden we saw everything just collapse. But after that, no doubt, the dust and debris headed straight our way. We just got showered by dust and debris for at least a minute or two, or maybe more. Gosh only knows how long. But just across the river, you could barely even see your hands in front of you. All you could see was just dust and debris. You can see some folks still kind of hanging around, marveling in the moment, and you can see just behind them nothing but rubble now, where Three Rivers Stadium once stood there on the North Shore. Now, we were talking to some folks here earlier who have bittersweet memories about this. They were excited to see this implosion and to see it all come down, but a little bit saddened by it as well, because there are just so many memories here with Pittsburghers and Three Rivers Stadium. So just mixed emotions here, and for us as well. This is my first implosion. It was exciting, and I have the dust and debris on me to show exactly how exciting this was. Back to you guys.
Natasha, can you hear me? Can I ask you a quick question? I'm just wondering, what was the reaction when you were standing there and you heard the explosions go off? Was it quiet? Were people talking amongst themselves?
You know, it was very quiet, and I guess people were just wondering what to expect almost. Again, we heard the explosions as they were going off around the stadium, and everyone just kind of watched and waited to see what was going to happen. And then just like that, everything just started crumbling down, and the stadium just kind of fell flat. So it was very quiet, and then all of a sudden you saw the stadium come down, and then all you could hear was excitement and screaming and yelling here. So it was mixed emotions.
Yeah, you had such a great vantage point there, Natasha. Thanks very much. I'm sure we'll check in with you a little bit later. Now we've got Rick Earl live, also very close by, with all the experts who did the job there and the people watching as well. Rick, go ahead.
Yeah, David, that's right. I'm here with Greg Yesko from the Sports Exhibition Authority. Greg, we talked at about 6 o'clock, anxiously waiting for it. It's over now. Some of your impressions, some of your thoughts.
Oh, this was absolutely spectacular. What a view. Tremendous event, you know, really once in a lifetime. and it couldn't have gone better as far as we're concerned. We were concerned about Steeler Stadium, and the plan just played out exactly the way it was supposed to. And really, what can you say? I mean, in the coverage, we had every angle covered in terms of video.
Yeah, we were just watching some of those camera shots from inside the stadium, and your reaction to that, the video from inside the stadium.
Right, and we knew that we'd only get a few seconds, and the cable would be cut. But, we went through a great effort to make sure that this pool arrangement worked out, and we had the cameras placed, and just a great amount of teamwork on everybody's part brought this all together, and we're very pleased.
Three River Stadium is down, but there is still a great deal of work to be done. Tell me about that.
Absolutely, and we're getting right on it to start clearing the debris. We have some very stringent deadlines to get the corridors cut through the debris so we can get the road work going. Really, the PNC Park grand opening is right around the corner, and we have to get these roads in by the time the Steelers Stadium opens, which is in August, which is really not that far off given how much more we have to do yet. But this was the starting point. We knew we had to get the stadium down in order to proceed with the plans, and it went very, very well.
Greg, I think some gentlemen from CDI have just come in now. Were they just inside the stadium, you know?
They were doing the checking. I'm going to talk with them in a few minutes.
We're going to get an assessment on how it went
and
get back to us, obviously.
Right, we'll do.
But from all angles, it looks like it went well.
All reports we have so far is it went great according to plan, and these folks from CDI, professionals, they've done thousands of structures around the world, and we knew that we brought in the best of the best to do this. And when they told us that they weren't going to do any damage to this from Three Rivers shooting over to the Steeler Stadium, we had complete confidence in them. The flip side of that was also when CDI came back to us and said, "Look, we need this delay for a week." We had to take their counsel very wisely, and so today's events prove that these guys are pros.
That's great. Greg Yesko from the Sports and Exhibition Authority. Thanks so much, Greg. We appreciate it. Obviously, the folks here still assessing the area from the implosion, but from all accounts, it looks like everything here went according to plan. David and Newland, back to you.
Thanks so much, Rick. Rick's camera, one of almost 20 that we had in position to look at the implosion. We want to show you what it looked like from many of the vantage points earlier this morning.
Here we go.
Coverage you can count on means you get the details that are relevant to your life.
In stereo.
Things have gone so well, it's only appropriate we do it in stereo here. It's great to be with you here for this, Newland. It was an exciting, emotional time. That's been a wonderful place to watch sports, Three River Stadium. It's not there anymore. We have two new places, one that's almost done, one that's going to be done coming up in August. And we have so many camera angles, so many different views of this. We're going to give you another look at this. We pieced together some of these, including from the inside. Let's take a look.
And you can see from inside the stadium the charges going off, 2,700 carefully timed explosions, almost 2,000 pounds of dynamite used to bring down a stadium, 31 years old, a part of history, and will certainly live in so many Pittsburghers' memories.
You know, watching those angles from the inside, our cameras were not damaged. We got the tapes out of them. It makes me wonder, not that you would want to try this, but that you could have been in the middle of the field and watched it and not got... No one would try that at home. Or
I don't think so.
But, you know, looking back now, how cool would that have been? I know you can't, you know, they're not going to let you inside, but that's just one of the crazy thoughts I have running in my mind right now.
Okay. Well, let's see how crazy things have gotten up on top of Mount Washington. You know, there were just thousands of people up there earlier this morning, some crazy folks camping out in tents since 1 o'clock this morning. Steve Chenevy has been at the Monterey Bay Fish Grotto up on top of Mount Washington, and things I imagine have sort of quieted down a little up there, Steve.
What, are you kidding? Absolutely not. The party's just getting started up here. A lot of folks, the only difference is they're away from the windows now and they're heading toward the food line. I think it's lunchtime for most of the folks who started rolling in here about 5 o'clock this morning. Different story just below us down on Grandview Avenue, where some folks got here about 1 o'clock this morning. There were tents set up, people cooking out. One guy and his family were deep frying a turkey. So it's pretty much the same situation that you would see on game day. Now, speaking of game day and people that are special, you know, there's only a few people that could ever say they actually blew up Three River Stadium, and you're one of them.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great opportunity. I'm glad that I got the chance, and it's just great. This is the greatest day of my life.
Were you able to actually see the stadium as it fell down, and what were you thinking when you saw it?
It was like a standstill. I heard the bangs that then. It was like, you know, waiting forever for it to come down. It just came tumbling down, you know, and that was it.
What were you thinking about as it came down?
You know, I thought about all the memories, that stuff. Thought about Clemente. Thought about the Steelers in the '70s, and you know, all the memory, all the things that happened at Three River Stadium. It was sad. You know, it was sad seeing it go down.
Well, we got new stadiums going up. You think you might tell one or two of your friends that, hey, I was the guy that brought this thing down?
Yeah. I'm gonna go around telling people that.
Well, we're happy for you, and I know that your mom's around. We're going to talk with her a little bit later on. But how many people could say they were the ones that actually got to implode Three Rivers Stadium? I can count about 2 people, and we'll just talk to one of them. We'll talk to the other one coming up in a little bit. For now, live on Mount Washington, Steve Chenevy, Channel 11 News.
Guys are headed off, that family, by the way, headed off to a warmer, sunnier destination. After this, they've won a trip to the Bahamas.
That's right. We have had a sunny morning.
The weather's
today.
been fabulous.
Warmer? No. It's been chilly out here, but I tell you what, it's been a beautiful day, and I'm sure that the folks at Controlled Demolition say we couldn't have really had much better weather than this. The winds were not much of a factor. That heavy plume of smoke hung up in the air for quite a while. That's a view from USX Tower, and that is some view, because now we've got 2 stadiums. We had 3 for a while there, and now we just have 2. And Three Rivers, that legendary home. I remember growing up in Florida as a teenager in the 1970s, and you heard Three Rivers Stadium, and that meant home field advantage big time, especially for the Steelers, for the Pirates as well. But I think when you think of the loud quality of that stadium, how it just shook when the place got rocking, it was the Steelers of the 70s, and there it is, rubble.
Probably, sorry to interrupt, didn't rock any louder than it did on the day, December 23rd, 1972. Do you know that date, David?
I do know that date. That's the greatest play in NFL history.
That's right. That's Franco Harris's immaculate reception that we are referring to, named the greatest play, by the way, at Three Rivers Stadium. And those are the kinds of plays, the kinds of memories that Pittsburghers have had of Three Rivers. I know about 2 weeks ago I was down covering one of the stories on the implosion and talked to a gentleman who worked at the Carnegie Science Center. His son in Connecticut made him come take pictures of Three Rivers, this gutted out shell.
Oh, it was a great story.
No longer the stadium that people remembered. But he told me, you know what, I was there at Forbes Field. I watched this stadium go up. I brought my boys here. This is where my boys grew up. They've got their tickets in frames. This gentleman saying that his son had saved all those little mementos, had framed them and had them on his wall at his work site in Connecticut, would not let Three Rivers and the implosion go down without capturing that moment on film, and that's why he was there that day.
Yeah, I remember seeing that story you did, Newland, and it was touching to see that man tell that story. And no doubt we're going to hear from people who've been gathering here, and who knows how far away they have traveled, probably hundreds of miles, maybe longer, to see a place that they have seen on TV and been there in person to witness those fabulous plays. You mentioned the Immaculate Reception, Clementi's 3,000th hit, the Super Bowl teams, the undefeated years, only 2 of them at Three Rivers, and all the great baseball moments, the concerts. Let's not forget, it wasn't just sports. Concerts took place there. But we're about ready to build some new memories as we clear away the Rebel you see there with PNC Park and the as yet unnamed Steelers Stadium. We're going to start a whole new era in Pittsburgh sports. I think it's going to be great. But right now, let's take a trip into the recent past and see a chopper replay of the implosion.
You were looking at the implosion replay from Chopper 11. You can see in the bottom portion of your screen Mayor Murphy and, of course, the folks that won the right to push the ceremonial plunger reacting to the implosion. The fireworks from Zambelli going off immediately afterwards. That was just one of our 20 camera angles that we had positioned for our viewers this morning. We also had a camera over at Point State Park. We'd like to take a look at the replay of the implosion from that vantage point. Here you go. And it goes down so smoothly.
And again, we're looking at part of it there starting to edge toward the Steelers' new stadium. I think from this perspective, it's hard to see where, which is closer to the camera, Three Rivers, which I believe it is, or the new Steelers stadium. And Newland and I were watching that before and kind of, holding onto the edge of our chairs here. Was there any damage to the Steelers' new stadium? No, it certainly doesn't appear that way at this point. We don't know if some of those windows were blown out, but there again, You're seeing it from the roof of Channel 11.
Not a lot of wiggle room, just 80 feet between the old stadium and the new stadium, and now what will be the new home for Steelers fans as we go into the new millennium. We are going to take a quick break. We will continue our live Team 11 implosion coverage of the Big Blast. Coming up in just a moment, we thank you for joining us. We hope you will continue to do so.
When winter rears its ugly head, there are some things you just can't live without. Jeep Cherokee being one of them. Now, returning Daimler Chrysler lessees with preferred credit can get a $269 a month lease and all this at no extra charge.
Storm Team 11 is weather coverage you can count on Channel 11 News.
In the market for a new home? Don't miss Northwood Realty's Guide to Homes at 11:30 Sunday mornings on WPXI TV Channel 11.
Ready to launch a new career? Take off with EchoStar Communications Dish Network. America's fastest growing satellite television provider is now hiring customer service representatives. If you enjoy working with people, have good computer and communication skills, EchoStar offers a great work environment, excellent benefits, and a competitive starting salary. Apply in person at our McKeesport Customer Service Center or call 412-675-HIRE. EchoStar, take off with our team.
Hey guys, now the Children's Institute is in Wexford, but it's still in Squirrel Hill.
And Monroeville.
Yes, it is.
And Green Tree. Green Tree. Outpatient therapy has become very popular. I prefer the new Wexford facility.
Good job.
Think I'm going to need a little outpatient therapy. Try Monroeville. Try Wexford. I'm there Monday and Friday. I live close to Wexford. Hey. Hey, slow down. You're gonna break your neck. Or your arms and legs.
That sounds serious.
Well, mine's not that serious.
Trust me. Get some therapy.
You should always wear a helmet so you don't get a head injury, so you wouldn't need therapy. Just in case, you could visit our website at
AmazingKids.org.
Coverage you can count on Channel 11 News.
And there's a collision. It's caught out of the air. The ball is pulled in. First place in the Central Division. Before a sellout crowd at Three Rivers Stadium.
Welcome back, everybody. Our live coverage of the Big Blast continues. A live look from Chopper 11 and what's left of Three Rivers Stadium. Nothing but a pile of rubble and some steel sticking up there. Our tower cam shot, I should say. Just about an hour ago, controlled detonations helped bring down the 31-year-old building.
And here is the view of the North Shore from atop our tower cam right now on Television Hill. You can see the rubble that once was Three Rivers Stadium, flanked by two brand new stadiums. And we want to go to some coverage of our implosion this morning, the Big Blast. We want to let you know we had 20 cameras, 6 of Channel 11's cameras inside Three Rivers Stadium this morning to capture the implosion on tape for memory.
Okay, I believe Rick Earl is standing by live now on the North Shore. Go ahead, Rick.
Well, David, that's right. Just a few minutes ago, I talked to some workers from Controlled Demolition Incorporated. They were over at the Three Rivers Stadium surveying the damage there, surveying what happened. They do tell me, you know, one of the biggest concerns was the new Steelers Stadium right next door, about 65 feet away, and there were dozens of glass windows put in already in that new Steelers Stadium. That was a big concern. Of course, last week, they put up a big a sheet covering those windows, hoping to keep them from breaking. We did talk to the CDI workers, and they tell me so far right now they don't have any broken windows in that new Steelers Stadium. So that, of course, is very good news. Of course, right now they are still going through the new Steelers Stadium. And if you take a look behind me, you can see we do have a number of people who are now back in this area. Of course, this area was indeed the safety zone earlier today, but of course that has been lifted. It is all clear. You see people driving through the area. A number of people walking down towards where Three Rivers Stadium once used to stand. It sounds funny, it sounds strange, I know, but that's it. You know, where it once used to stand, people walking by, looking at this. Of course, an amazing sight this morning when it came crashing to the ground. Here at the command center, most of the people have pulled out. They have packed up. We did see a few people from the natural gas company. They were checking gas lines, making sure everything is okay, just doing some checks, making sure the gas lines in this area are okay. But all in all, it looks like everything went according to plan. We did talk to CDI about those the steel, the top part of the stadium, the top steel part of the stadium sticking up, and they tell me that that's what they expected. They expected that top part just to come crashing down and sitting on top of the concrete structure. Of course, now they will begin carting all of the concrete and steel away, and that will begin, as Greg Yesko said earlier, very shortly here. So that's the latest from the command center. Let's send it back up to you guys.
Okay, Rick, thanks very much. Newland, I was told in no uncertain terms that my little, I wonder if you could stand in the middle of the field and make it. No, you couldn't. We had 6 cameras inside. We were able to retrieve the tape. But those cameras are no more, I'm told.
No, and they were not manned. We had strung cable inside the stadium, 6 of Channel 11's cameras inside there. We want to show you the replay from all 6 of those vantage points right now.
Okay, that's some of the views of the inside. We had 6 cameras on the inside. Again, those cameras did not survive, but the tapes did, so you could see what it was like to be on the inside. No one was actually there, thank goodness, and I'm glad they didn't let this crazy person go in there and say, whoa, what would it be like to be on the inside? Obviously, that wouldn't happen, but we did get the angle in there, and that was an interesting perspective. We have so many on the outside, of course.
I wonder what it was like for the folks who fly into Pittsburgh International on a morning like this morning when you look down, and traditionally you look down out of your seat and see
on a beautiful
downtown
day.
Pittsburgh, and then you watch Three Rivers go down in just 17 seconds. We've got a picture right now from the USX Tower, one of the tallest vantage points in the city. Let's see how it looked from that view. Just see the enormity of the dust and the debris caused by those 2,700 carefully timed explosions earlier this morning. Happened just about an hour ago.
That's right, a very light breeze blowing from the northwest. So light that it seemed to not move that big dust cloud very quickly. It slowly moved across the Allegheny River. It is completely dissipated now. And we have another angle of the implosion we're going to show you. Let's take a look at that.
They had expected. Look at that, isn't that amazing? I mean, it did not interfere with the new Steelers Stadium.
And that is Channel 11's Andy Gassmeyer, who was up inside Chopper 11 earlier this morning, watching it go down in just a few short seconds. And we were talking earlier, David, about Mount Washington, traditionally a place where you go watch the 4th of July fireworks. So, of course, the crowds are going to flock up there this morning.
That's right. We had fireworks immediately following, as you see. Zambelli International providing those memories, as they have for so many other memories of fireworks and events in Pittsburgh. And Steve Shinevy is on Mount Washington with his perspective. What's going on there now at the restaurant? Steve.
Well, David, the parties continue here high above Grandview Avenue up on Mount Washington. We're joined by a couple of very special guests. You know, a lot of the concern was what would happen to the new Steelers Stadium. Joining me is Mayor Tom Murphy. And, Mayor, you said you already were inside the new stadium.
Yeah, we went over right after the explosion to look at it. And remarkably, not one window was broken. Of course, we were very worried. About 60 feet away from the Three Rivers was a whole wall of new glass. So we were very worried that some of those windows would get popped up, but none broke. And so the contractors did exactly what they said they were going to do, which was to drop it straight down. It worked. We're very pleased with the results.
Now that this stadium is down, does this finally say, okay, let's clear this out and clear a way for the new development?
We got a lot of work to do now. The hard part begins. We got to move all that 7,500 truckloads of debris out, build 3 new roads before April 9th. So there's a big challenge, and obviously create some parking spaces for the new baseball park.
All right, the work continues. Thank you, Mayor.
Here's the woman and her son who actually did it.
Well, we want to talk to her. We'll catch up with you again in a few minutes, Mayor. Thank you. And Elizabeth, you know, I told your son a few minutes ago, how many people could say they actually blew up this stadium? And I can count 2, your son and you're the other one.
Yes, it was very, very amazing, and it was just unbelievable to see it go down.
What were you thinking as you actually watched it come down?
I just was amazed. I was totally mesmerized by it, just standing there and just watching it slowly go to the ground. It was just mesmerizing.
Now, you told me, for those of you who don't know, through the raffle, she bought 3 tickets, a $30 investment to get this, and a lot of other good prizes, including a trip, a cruise, and all these other things.
Right.
But you said you knew right away you wanted it to be your son.
Oh,
Why?
Absolutely. My son is a very special child, and his passion is sports. His love is the Pirates. He follows the sports teams voraciously. If there isn't a sports stat that he does not know, it had to be Joe. From the get, I knew. We both knew. Mike and I both, my husband and I both knew that it was going to be Joe.
You know, Joe told us that this was the greatest day of his life so far, and what did you think? Is it everything that you thought it would be?
Oh, it was. It truly was. It was just being down there in the limo, being treated like royalty, just like the kings we are. We were taken care of. The Carnegie Science Center has been just super great. Everybody has been super great. Yes, this has been a momentous occasion in our lives.
All right, enjoy the party that you get to do now, along with everybody else up here. More than 300 people up here throughout the day. And as we said, these folks, the building may be down, but the party is just getting started. Live on Mount Washington, Steve Shanavy, Channel 11 News.
And Steve, we can tell you that the Kings got to be kings for a day.
Indeed. And that's a live look, I believe, of the Pirates' new ballpark. Beautiful park. And there's the pile of rubble. And there's the Steelers' as yet unnamed football stadium. It's amazing to think it's not there anymore. So
down on the ground, Channel 11's Natasha Brown was there to watch it all happen. Natasha, things have cleared out. Are there any fans still left where you are?
Well, you know, not really. There are still a couple of folks still kind of hanging around, taking pictures, trying to see the stadium, and lots of folks stuck around a little bit later trying to take pictures in front of this pile of rubble. But, you know, these folks waited hours and hours, and it culminated in just a 17-second moment, but all of them that we talked to say it was well worth it. Many of them left here with mixed feelings, you know, not wanting to see Three Rivers go after 30 years or so in this city, but excited about seeing the new stadium, which has been erected right next door. So lots of mixed feelings among the crowd here. And, you know, it was just incredible to see the implosion from this vantage point just across the Allegheny River. Now we're looking at just a pile of rubble, but right when the implosion was taking place, you couldn't hear a pin drop, but it was very, very quiet. Folks were just anticipating what was going to happen. All of a sudden, you just heard lots of laughter and cheering as soon as it did happen. So it was a very excited crowd here. Again, folks waited hours and hours just to see this and just to be able to take home a part of history here at Point State Park. Back to you guys.
All right, Natasha, what a memory that will be for them. And our coverage of the implosion continues just in a moment.
But first, here's a look at the implosion from the Clark building on the north side. Just one of 19 camera angles that we had for you this morning.
And there it is. That implosion resulted in 100,000 cubic yards of rubble. The dust cloud from the implosion, which knocked out 800 stadium pillars, spread the grime for over 150 feet on the North Shore. Again, 100 cubic yards of rubble there left behind, and that dust cloud 150 feet out across the North Shore, 800 of those pillars blasted. We'll be back right after this.
Watch House Calls during the 5 to 6 o'clock news hour, Tuesdays and Thursdays on WPXI.
Harsh winter weather is murder on my hands, so I use moisturizer. And when my skin's so dry it cracks and bleeds, I use more moisturizer. I use Neosporin. Yeah, but that's for cuts. What do you think those little cracks in your hands are?
Neosporin helps heal cuts 4 days faster than a bandage alone and kills the bacteria that can cause infection.
I know it's in here somewhere. Keep looking.
Help heal winter cuts. Help prevent infection with Neosporin. Every cut, every time.
Channel 11 Morning News brings you the 11-minute advantage. 11 minutes of uninterrupted news, weather, and traffic at the top of every half hour.
Live coverage of breaking news.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes.
Plus current weather conditions on your screen all the time.
And when severe weather threatens, Storm Team 11 crews bring you live pictures of the approaching storms. The 11-minute advantage, only on Channel 11 Morning News from 5 to 7 a.m. Coverage you can count on.
Complete customer satisfaction.
My family and I travel all over the country and even pull a travel trailer. We came to North Star because they had the vehicle that we needed. Even after our needs changed, they continue to work very closely with us to find a vehicle that we needed for our family. We're extremely pleased with both the deal and their efforts.
Our customers say it best.
I was uncertain about buying a car on my own, but at North Star, the sales team listened to my needs, delivered the car that I wanted, at a price that fit my budget. And at North Star, Service is a commitment, not just a goal. I drove the extra distance to North Star because they went the extra distance for me.
Selection, selection, selection.
Most people won't believe this, but since last March, my family has bought 5 vehicles at North Star. The selection at North Star truly keeps us coming back again and again and again. There'll be any deal.
North Star Pontiac GMC Oldsmobile, Route 19 North between Cranberry and Zelienople.
Okay, again, a look from Point State Park live at what's left of Three Rivers. You know, that looks bigger and more together than it really is. Those are some of the largest pieces left over from Three Rivers. Controlled Demolitions Incorporated successfully imploded that building a little more than an hour ago.
And you know, David, atop Mount Washington, Grandview Avenue was another popular vantage point for the crowds to watch the big blast. Here's a replay of that event. And it went down in just about 17 seconds at about 7:59:30 this morning, just a few seconds shy of 8 a.m. And the big question is, now that the big blast is over, what next? Well, now there's the big cleanup. They've got to get it done before April, before PNC Park opens. You can see what the implosion left behind. 160,000 tons of concrete for starters. There are also 130,000 tons of dirt and 8,000 more tons of steel. How will crews remove all of that? By now they've started in on their first few hours of basically dusting, and they hope to stick to a schedule.
They're preparing to all sorts of things with street sweepers, labor, water trucks. So we should have this area, the whole neighborhood reopened and available for normal use before 12 o'clock on Sunday.
But just because the area will be reopened doesn't mean crews are done with their work yet. Over the next 6 to 8 weeks, trucks will be hauling the rubble away to landfills and taking the steel to shredders. But don't try to sneak a piece of that concrete. Security will still be policing the area to keep folks from potential harm around all that debris.
And Newland, not far away from that rubble, over at the new ballpark, Christmas tree growers from Indiana County will be leaving their mark on the new PNC Park, where they're going to play baseball. A nursery will donate 6 15-foot-tall Norway spruce trees to line the center field wall. We're told the trees will make it easier for batters to see pitches. Hopefully our batters, the Pirates, I mean. Along with the trees, a plaque will also be erected telling visitors where those trees came from.
It is just a beautiful ballpark set to open in just about 8 weeks, believe it or not. We're going to get back to our implosion coverage in just a moment.
First, Stacia Ertis downstairs with more of the day's news. Hello, Stacia.
Hello. Good morning to you both. Good morning. In the news this morning, a Beaver County hospital may close in April unless a new buyer is found. About 450 employees at UPMC Beaver Valley and Aliquippa were told they may be laid off because the hospital is losing money. UPMC officials say the facility has lost $8 million. Police are asking for your help to find a suspected bank robber. Investigators say on Friday a man walked into the Promise Star Bank on East Carson Street and demanded cash from a teller. The suspect left a suspicious box behind full of wires. Now, if you have any information about the suspect, you are asked to call the Pittsburgh police at 665-4000. Westmoreland County will be losing its coroner earlier than expected. Leo Baca has decided to take advantage of an early retirement plan offered by the county. He will leave office April 30th. His term was set to end in December of 2001. Baca's chief deputy will fill the vacancy for the remainder of the year. Well, more than 24 aftershocks have been reported now in Southern California. Yesterday's earthquake registered a magnitude of 5.1. It was felt from Los Angeles to San Diego. So far, no major damage or injuries have been reported. Indonesia's Mount Merapi is still spewing lava and ash. The volcano had been rumbling for weeks. Residents in the surrounding areas were evacuated, but many returned to their homes, even though experts said a major eruption could happen any time. Mount Merapi is Indonesia's most active volcano. And I will have another news update in just about a half an hour. We'll see you then.
Thanks so much, Stacia. We want to get back to our implosion coverage right now. We want to go back to Three Rivers Stadium. Channel 11's Rick Earl has been with controlled demolition throughout most of the morning. And Rick, Steve Chenevey was just talking to the mayor, and he said that he had been around the site and things went exactly as they had planned they would.
Well, Newland, that's exactly what we're hearing down here at the site that used to be the command center. Of course, most of the people have now left, but some CDI workers just a few minutes ago told us that this went really according to plan. No broken windows in that new Steelers stadium, only 65 feet away, and no other debris damage anywhere. So they are very pleased, very happy with the implosion this morning. And of course, all morning long, or for about the past 45 minutes, we've been marveling at those pictures from inside Three Rivers Stadium as the implosion happened. And I want to introduce you now to the man who made a lot of that possible. This is our chief photographer at Channel 11 News. It's Mark Johnston. Mark, thanks for joining us. Tell us what it took to bring us those pictures from inside Three Rivers Stadium as it came crashing down.
Well, it was really an incredible couple of weeks trying to get those ready. We pieced together a number of cameras, so we'd have 6 functioning cameras with a lens on auto irises, so we could deal with the sun in any aspect that we were dealing with. And it was a lot of planning, and all 4 stations came together. We provided the cameras. Channel 4 provided some of the cabling and the engineering work. KDKA was working with us, as well as Fox. So we all really pulled together. We all supplied the equipment, the decks, that we actually cabled from the cameras in the center of the stadium, Three Rivers Stadium. We cabled through Three Rivers, across the rubble, into the new Steelers Stadium, which was very gracious of the Steelers to allow us to do that. Behind some protective barriers, we placed 6 recorders. So we had a cable run of about 700 feet or more, and we were just thrilled because all week, as a matter of fact, for 2 weeks, CDI as well as SCA said, we're going to let you do this, but we're not guaranteeing anything. These cables might go right away. So we really worked hard to get them at the last explosive pillar, 9E it was, and we were able to tuck them up against the pillar, and they were protected for about 14 to 15 seconds.
Mark, when you saw what you had, what the video, the images that were captured in there, you must have been pleased.
I was jumping up and down. I was so elated because, as I said, we didn't think we would get what we got. And so that's why we put as many cameras as we did in so many different angles, wanting to make sure that we captured something exciting, something that would really tell the story. And although it's brief, there's after you can actually see the implosion, you can see the explosives going off, you see the top of the rim begin to crumble, and then bam, it goes black. And we knew at that point we at least had something.
You told me when the Seattle Kingdom was brought down that they attempted that, and it didn't work out quite as well as it did here.
They got nothing. They got zip. And so knowing that that was the case, as a matter of fact, we even sought their counsel at CDI, saying, are we going to get anything, and so on, as I talked about a little earlier. And they said, well, we haven't had much success with this. So we feel like we've really accomplished something. All 6 cameras were operating, all 6 recorded tape, and we were able to get the pictures. So.
Yeah, wonderful. And Mark has been inside the old Three Rivers Stadium. What did you see when you went in there to retrieve the tapes?
I'll tell you what, that was an experience. We were all kind of commenting as we went in the car about how it was like a World War II zone, or the metal was hanging out. We had an official from CDI with us for safety purposes and so on, and he was just elated because the steel that we saw still erect in the air was falling inward, not outward, and that's what they were concerned about, or one of the issues.
Great.
So it was quite an experience.
Great. Thank you so much. Our chief photographer here at Channel 11 News, Mark Johnston. That's the latest from the command center. Back to you.
Okay, Rick and Mark, good job, everybody out there, to get it out and on the air like they did. Amazing. Channel 11's live team coverage of the big blast, the big implosion, continues right now.
And we have another perspective from the implosion, this one from right on top of Television Hill, and our cameras up here. Or Chopper 11. We also had Chopper 11 covering this for us this morning, and this is the result, and you can see some machinery ready to get going to clear away the debris and all the rubble in time for the Pirates home opener at the new PNC Park.
Now that Three Rivers has been imploded, crews can begin some road work on the new roads between the stadiums. That includes an extension of General Robinson Street and the new North Shore Drive. Also, a road called Steelers Way, which will run where the rubble of Three Rivers is now, will be built.
I'm meteorologist Julie Bologna. Weather coverage you can count on Channel 11 News.
It's the height of the fashion season at Today's Home, and the February home sale brings it all together. You'll find outstanding manufacturer-authorized discounts on all the hot new looks and cherished bestsellers. Everything from the smooth lines of contemporary to the timeless elegance of the classics. Plus, Today's Home will donate 5% of your total purchase to the Make-A-Wish Foundation for Children. The February home sale at Today's Home. Big discounts, fabulous furnishings, and a chance to make a difference.
Hello? NBC Tonight. Cue the sun. From the time he was born. No scripts, no cue card. His life was a TV show.
Good morning! Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
And he never knew it till now.
A lot of strange things have been happening. The last thing that I would ever do is lie to you. Is lie to you.
Winner of 3 Golden Globe Awards.
Get out of here. Want to do it again? No! He's gone. Hit him again. Is that the best you can do? We can't let him die in front of a live audience. He was born in front of a live audience.
Jim Carrey.
It's amazing.
The network premiere of The Truman Show, NBC Tonight.
Remember when you could walk to the corner store and choose just those candies that you enjoyed? I'm Jane Leader Janisek, and at Country Meadows Retirement Communities, we offer different levels of care, so you can choose what best suits your needs and not pay for unneeded services. We invite you to stop by and experience firsthand that old-fashioned feeling of warmth, caring, and support, because Country Meadows remembers. Call us today. We're in the White Pages under Country Meadows.
Winter weather causes problems for homes, which means home improvement projects aren't far behind. The solution? Windows Unlimited's Winter Super Sale, where you'll save 20 to 35%. Quality windows, doors, siding, patio rooms, and more. 20 to 35% off. Call for a free estimate. And when nice weather arrives, your home improvement projects will be done. Sale ends soon. Windows Unlimited. Home improvement pioneers since 1963.
This is Channel 11 Carnegie Science Center weather.
Yes, good morning to you. Kevin Benson here live in the Channel 11 Weather Center with a check of your forecast. And you can see we have clear skies in southwestern Pennsylvania. A lot of sunshine out there, even though it is still chilly. Temperature is now 22 degrees. Sky is mostly clear. Wind chill still about 5 above 0 as we have a wind out of the northwest anywhere from 8 to about 12 miles per hour. Here's what you can expect today. Mostly sunny conditions. Cold to start here this morning, 22 degrees. This afternoon, mostly sunny, chilly. Temperature should go to about 30. This evening, mostly clear and cold, about 22 degrees. And then overnight, mainly clear and cold. And the temperature will go to about 17. Again, here are temperatures across the region. 22 at International Airport. 20s all over the place with the exception of Du Bois and Johnstown, where they're checking in with the 16 degrees. Here's Channel 11's weather predictor. And you can see it keeps us with a clear sky here right on through this afternoon. Tonight, we'll gradually see a little more in the way of cloudiness coming up here tomorrow. Let's get a check now on your 5-day forecasts from Channel 11, Carnegie Science Center. You can see it gets a little milder, and the temperature tomorrow is 40. The temperature Tuesday is 48 degrees. There is a check of your Channel 11 Carnegie Science Center forecast. Now let's get back upstairs. Here's Newman.
And thousands of people who were watching the implosion earlier this morning, many of whom camped out overnight to see it, are now heading back home along with folks who were at church services earlier. Let's get a check on traffic right now from Katina Forte. Good morning, Katina.
Good morning, Newland, and good morning to you. As you get ready to head out the door this morning, if you were in town watching the implosion, the good news is all of the streets have been reopened. Remember, the inside, the blast zone, the North Shore streets, Federal Street, Ridge Avenue have all been reopened. Traffic is moving pretty well. Also, Fort Pitt, Fort Duquesne Bridges, West End Bridge, West End Circle, all reopened. A little bit slow as you head across the Fort Duquesne Bridge, heading toward the Parkway West. Newland and David, back to you.
All right, Katina, thank you very much. Our coverage of the big blast continues.
In just a moment, we want to give you another perspective of the implosion that happened earlier this morning.
Want to see a really great service department? Follow me. When you pull your car in for service at the C. Harper Autoplex, you're immediately greeted. They even top off your window washer fluid for free.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Dave. That's Dave Hall. Here at the C. Harper Autoplex, he's the service director. Look at this massive service area. C. Harper has over 90 service people and extended service hours to get you in and out. If your car needs to stay, C. Harper has 50 enterprise rental cars available, so there's never an inconvenience. And every vehicle that comes in for service goes out with a free car wash. And you get the same treatment whether your car's a new Cadillac or an older Cavalier. But don't take it from me. Experience it for yourself at the C. Harper Autoplex, selling Chevrolet, Pontiac, Cadillac, Buick, and Kia, Route 51, Bell Vernon. Thinking about a new Ford? Here's Billy Hillgrove at the new C. Harper Ford.
Hi, Bill Hillgrove here at the new C. Harper Ford. With me is Joe Faddis, General Manager. Joe, why are more and more people choosing C. Harper Ford?
Well, Bill, that's easy. We always have a fantastic selection of new and used vehicles, evening and Saturday service hours, and a very helpful sales staff.
Speaking of sales staff, with me is Gene Doyle. Gene, why should more customers choose C. Harper Ford?
Simple, Billy. It's the way we treat our customers.
That says it all. The new C. Harper Ford, Route 51, Bell Vernon, 2 miles south of I-70.
I want this to be the greatest day in her life. It's going to set the tone for everything. She deserves the best I can offer.
You can afford the best at King's Jewelry. Celebrate your past, present, and future together with a brilliant diamond and platinum 3-stone ring, starting at $9.99.
She deserves King's Jewelry.
For that special sparkle, come to King's.
Coverage you can count on Channel 11 News.
And there's a collision. It's caught out of the air. The ball is pulled in by first place. Before a sellout crowd at Three River Stadium.
Welcome back, everybody. The cleanup has begun. Look at that front-end loader. They're working around what was Three River Stadium. That's a live look from our chopper. Demolition crews successfully imploded the stadium about a half an hour ago.
When the big blast went off, Channel 11 had cameras inside the stadium recording every angle of the implosion. Here's a view from one of those 6 cameras.
And another look from the inside, this time a different angle.
And it went down in just about 17 seconds at about 8 o'clock this morning, an hour and a half ago. You know, Channel 11's Rick Earl wasn't as close as that, but he was pretty darn close.
He was at controlled demolition with all those folks at the staging area, which is as close as people were allowed to get. And I'm sure he didn't want to be too much closer than that. Rick, go ahead.
Well, that's right, David. We were about 650 feet from Three River Stadium. That was well inside the 800-foot safety zone. But fortunately, when the dust cloud came out, it went towards the river and went down towards Point State Park. So we didn't experience any dust here and any of the debris either. Of course, CDI folks say that this demolition went according to plan. Now, there are a number of people out here, out and about, and they are walking up to where Three River Stadium used to stand, and there's a big fence around that old the stadium site there, and they are walking up to it, taking a look at the debris and what's left of it after the implosion. Let me talk to this gentleman here. He was up there.
Yes, sir.
What'd you see up there? What's it look like?
Well, yeah, we were up on top of a big building looking down. Any reason to be in Pittsburgh, drink beer, watch stuff blow up, can't beat it.
So you got a chance to come down here and you went up to the site. What did you see up there? What's it look like?
Well, it's amazing because you're so used to seeing that big structure and it's just like so low now. I think they're just surveying it to see how well it was blown up. So it's
how
pretty
about
cool.
your vantage point this morning when you saw it come down?
We're up on the parking garage. We had the perfect spot, and we were getting real rowdy up there, and it was a good time.
Was it what you expected?
Actually, no, it was not as loud as I would have liked it. We were all expecting this big, huge, percussion feeling. It wasn't all that, but it was still a good time.
Mixed emotions about it coming down, or you think it's time for a change? And
I think every weekend they should blow something up, and if they blew the next two the two new ones up, I'd be here watching.
A lot of fun, a lot of excitement. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. A lot of people down here having a good time, obviously, having a lot of fun. Of course, as Doug Loizo from Controlled Demolition said, this is obviously a spectator sport, so a lot of people took it that way.
Rick, we love him. What can you say? Getting a little bit lit up there and watching things blow up. That's
He'd like to
best
see
time
it
you can
happen
have.
every weekend.
He wants to blow a building up
we'll
every
let
day.
Doug Loizo at Controlled Demolition know that.
That's right. Meantime, they got work to do, and the front-end loaders are already busy plowing things away there at what was Three Rivers Stadium. We have another spectacular view, of course, and that comes from Chopper 11. Channel 11's Andy Gassmeyer has been live in the chopper all morning long. Andy, any differences that you noticed since the last hour?
Well, you know, the difference I noticed right away, David, as we look at one of about a dozen front-end loaders already working at the scene, is we've been out to the county airport to refuel, and you come back to the scene. We're flying about 1,800 feet over the stadium right now. It doesn't appear to be as much of a scene as it was before in terms of how high that rubble appeared to be off the floor of the stadium as it did when it was first imploded. However, we should note that there are probably about a dozen front-end loaders at work. There is a section of the stadium where we noted before it seemed to be sitting pretty high off the floor of the stadium. That is a section of bleachers or seats on the southwest corner of the stadium that they have marked off with one of those yellow caution ribbons. Apparently there's some concern about that collapsing or being something of a hazard. I would suspect that they are probably trying to take inventory right now as they go about assessing how well this whole thing worked before they send all of these front-end loaders in to begin carrying this rubble out. I don't see any dump trucks on the scene yet, so there's not too much they can do, you would think, because a lot of this rubble that these front-end loaders will pick up will be dumped into these dump trucks. And they're under the gun, so to speak, because this has to be cleared out of the way and work begun on a roadway that will eventually connect to PNC Park. 2 months from tomorrow, that is April 9th.
All right, Andy, thank you very much. Talk about not wasting any time. They really have no time to waste, and that's why that front-end loader and other construction crews and equipment are busy on the job right now, just minutes after the implosion.
And Natasha Brown has been over at Point State Park for much of the morning. Wondering, Natasha, from your vantage point, I mean, now there's like a whole new perspective when you look across the Allegheny River, but can you see inside? Can you see the actual work crews working?
Well, actually, from this vantage point, we really don't see a lot of activity, not inside the stadium, and pretty much none on the outside either. We're just pretty much looking at some of the rubble here, the Giant Eagle sign, I guess, one of the biggest memorabilia still left out there that you can see. We see some folks, though, still hanging around here, actually taking pictures, trying to still capture what's left of Three Rivers Stadium at this point. But it was just a very exciting time here at Point State Park. Hundreds and hundreds of people from all over the place gathered here just to watch the implosion take place. It was just amazing to see it for ourselves just across the Allegheny River. It just took about 17 seconds, as you guys said. It seemed a lot quicker, at least from where we were. But folks were very excited here, and some folks that we talked to earlier said they even had tears in their eyes just seeing the stadium imploded earlier today. So lots of mixed feelings among folks who came out this morning. Many of them showed up here at Point State Park at 6 o'clock this morning. That's when police started letting them in, and some of them even showed up a little earlier than that just to make sure they had the best spot here. And of course, as Rick mentioned, and as you could see earlier, we pretty much got the brunt of all the dust and debris. There was no doubt about that. So the safety glasses that we had and the dust mask that we all had here definitely came in handy. There's no doubt about that. Back to you guys.
You're no worse for the wear, Natasha. Still looking good there. Thank you very much for that live report. Three Rivers, of course, has been blown to smithereens. You've seen some of the work crews already doing the work. Channel 11 Steve Shinevy has the details now on what's ahead with the short and long-term goals.
Part of the deadline pressure is to ensure that we have 2 120-foot right-of-ways cut through where the debris will be after the implosion.
Eventually, 3 new roads will be built in the space between the 2 new stadiums, an extension of General Robinson Street, a new North Shore Drive, and a street called Steelers Way, built right where Three Rivers is now. There will also be room for 1,600 surface parking spaces, but they won't be ready until next football season, and even then they won't be permanent. The Sports and Exhibition Authority, along with the Pirates and Steelers, have bigger development plans for the 25-acre site, saying in 4 years, the area where Three Rivers stands now will be bustling with activity.
Filled with restaurants and sports bars and some office space and a very diverse mix of development.
In the short term, the plan is build the roads first, then the parking lot. While the surface parking will not be ready for the start of baseball season, officials say fans can park in this new 900-space garage near PNC Park that will be finished in time for the Pirates opener.
Sports and Exhibition Authority officials tell me eventually they plan to build 2 more parking garages to make up for the lack of surface parking. On the North Shore, Steve Shanavy, Channel 11 News.
And the success, I should say, of this morning's implosion depended greatly.
It's been a long morning.
It depended greatly on the weather.
The weather had to cooperate with us, Kevin, and it did. Great morning this morning.
Yeah, it was just about perfect. There you see some video from high in the sky in Chopper 11 looking down on what once was Three Rivers Stadium. Now just a pile of rubble there, as you can see. You know, we had live local storm warning Doppler 11 radar on high intensity here today, and you can see that this is actually the smoke plume from just after 8 o'clock earlier today. The radar sensing that. You can see how actually the dust kind of blew just kind of downwind here. The wind was coming out of the northwest, and you can see how it blew across the north side over the Allegheny River right there, on over into parts of Point State Park. There's the Golden Triangle right there. That, of course, is Fort Pitt Bridge that runs over into the Fort Pitt Tunnel, and there you can see even some of that dust that kind of blew down into parts of the south side towards Station Square. So I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to show that to you. The dust plume is detected by Channel 11's Doppler 11 radar. All right, here's a look at satellite images. You can see the sky is clear. We're looking for a good deal of sunshine here today, folks. Temperature is 22 degrees with a wind chill of 5. It is mostly clear right now. Here's what you can expect today. Sunny conditions, 30 for a high 22 this evening. Cold again, 17 tonight. Here is a quick check of the 5-day forecast now, and you can see it gets a little milder as we head over the next few days. In fact, tomorrow goes to 40, Tuesday goes to 48 degrees, Wednesday some showers and 45, then it's going to get a little colder on Thursday, and maybe some flakes there by Thursday night early into Friday as it gets a little cooler, but you can see highs in the 40s. There's a check of your weather forecast. Now let's check traffic. Here's Katina Forte.
Thanks, Kevin. Of course, there were some large crowds downtown to see the big implosion, and many of the crowds have dissipated. If you're traveling on the downtown side of the Parkway East, traffic is actually moving along very well. There were some roads that were closed. Of course, the Fort Duquesne Bridge, Fort Pitt Bridge, Route 65 at the merge point with Fort Duquesne Bridge. All of those roadways have been reopened. If you're traveling down from Mount Washington, McCardle Roadway is actually pretty clear at this hour. There's a little bit of a backup